right, gentlemen, welcome to the CMU podcast.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing an episode of Core Story today. I'm with my business partner, Ravi.
What up, D?
I'm chilling, we doing all right. Now, you see, we got like a little nice setup going on, coming up in the world. So we're going to be interviewing my brother today. We're going to go dig a little deep, unfold some trauma, some wounds, but we're here to show you that even no matter what you come through, you can overcome your trials and tribulations, become a strong person in life. So let's go back. Take me back to how was your life for you in school.
All right, D. So firstly, I'm glad to be here with you today, able to share, able to be open and expressive. I'm glad we're doing this so people know that no matter how dark your shit's been, there is a future and there's hope. Yeah. Because this is going to get dark. And I want people who are watching to know that this is 100% raw and real. This is the absolute truth about my life. And as I'm sitting here with you today, there's nothing but pride that I feel for coming through all of this insane shit and turning it around to have a fascinating life that I lead. So to your question, taking us back to growing up. I grew up with both my parents in a smaller town just outside of London. Very industrial, working class kind of town where there wasn't a tremendous amount of diversity. I'd say most of the people were people who worked in the automobile industry. Many people were employed at Ford Motor Company, which was where most of the people from my community, which is the Punjabi Sikh community, came from India after World War II. Many Punjabi Sikhs actually volunteered to fight with Britain, right? And to support the British Empire at the time. And many of them then had the opportunity to come and work in the industrial hotbed of the Midlands, where basically they worked with cars, right? And to tell you the situation there was a day shift, which a lot of the white workers did, and the night shift working on cars. They didn't want to do that. So the Indian workers came over from Punjab to do the night shift because basically the white work didn't want to do it.
You had to do the grime stuff.
Yes. So my granddad came from India, right? My granddad was a brilliant man, very, very smart, very high IQ, exceptional ability, spoke many languages. You know, this is in the early fucking 1940s or whatever. He already had high level education, university educated, all that. So he's a very talented and brilliant man with loads of skills. So we want to talk about the kind of men that society was producing back then. You know, not only was he academically smart, but he could make things. He could learn things. He had an extensive knowledge of crafts, building, architecture. He just had so much ability. You know what I'm saying? So he came to Britain. He already had a very good grasp of English, already had good grasp of reading and writing in multiple languages, right? So he became a really important figure in the Punjabi community, right? My granddad was a hero to me, right? So many people who were coming over to settle, because my granddad was so fucking bright, he helped them learn the language. He helped them learn how to settle in, how to understand the customs, how to complete different forms, how to function properly in the economy, right? My granddad, he just learned everything about the culture because he was a bright dude. He was a fucking hustler, right? He settled down, he learned how to drive. He taught other Punjabi people, my granddad's a very important person for me because I'm very proud of him, right? And he was successful, bro. He was so smart. He was so successful. He built a whole empire, in one generation, just through brutal, old school Punjabi work ethic, right?
I can definitely see he's one of the motivators in your life.
You get it, right? You get it. Because, when you grow up as a little kid and you got a grandfather, even 10 years after he died, people from all over will come into our house to pay respects. I'm grateful that, this man showed me how to be in this country, showed me how to, function here. Right. And one of the things that I'm proud about, my granddad, right, he was, as I said, he was a fucking hustler, right? So, he was working his ass off at Ford, right? Married my grandmother. My grandmother, I can say safely, was a very evil human being, right? So already some darkness, as you can see. I would say she had psychopathy, right? So she was a kind of a psychopath, right? I'd say she liked to torture. I'd say she was sadistic. I'd say she was genuinely an evil person. Right, so it gets very dark down the line, and you can see where a lot of dysfunctions came, right? So cut a long story short, granddad's hustling, right? gets married to grandmother. Grandmother's a wicked person, right? So she's like abusing him, would you believe? Right? Right? Crazy.
Abusing him like what way?
I would say like, physically, right? Punches, kicks, slaps, all that type of shit. He's like old school religious bro, believes in God, all that, you know what I'm saying? So he ain't gonna do nothing, right? It's a terrible story, right? So and she's so poisonous and like toxic. She's very involved in the religious community, right? Everyone fears her because they know she's like a gossip and all that. So it's such a toxic situation, right? She has a certain level of like power, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, but Granddad's very respected, and he's using his mind to do a lot of great things. So he excels in Ford, right? He kind of goes on, gets progression. He is really good with his money management. He starts like buying properties, this is like 1940s in England, right? So he starts buying 1, 2, 3. He's got like 10 houses he fucking owns, like outright, right? So he's letting them out. Now here's the thing. My granddad's religious, right? So he believes in God, all that type of shit. So he doesn't judge anyone. He's like the least racist type of person. So he don't care what skin color you got. So he's doing some things that are not acceptable at that time. You know what he's doing? He's renting houses out to black people, stuff like that.
I can definitely understand back in that time it was extremely racist. Anybody of color would not be accepted into anyone's society.
Yeah. So think about what's happening for him. He's owning his houses, right? The local white community is starting to hate him because this is a brown man from India. In the times of the British Empire, people from England were going over and serving and building infrastructure in India, and like were seeing these people as peasants and below them, and like these were the civilizers, the colonizers, right? And my granddad's coming over here, and now white people have to rent houses from him, right? And even worse, the unforgivable sin. My granddad didn't see someone's color, so if someone was black and they wanted to rent a house, he said, "You're fucking welcome to do it," and he did it. And the problem with that is he got a lot of hate, right? So this story gets a bit more complicated before I'm born. He's getting more success. He's achieving. He's smart, dude. He knows how to. He's so intelligent. He works out how to fucking. Came from India. He in just like 5 to 10 years, he's got all these houses. He understands how to like rent properties out. He understands how to like, he's got understanding of how to like maintain everything. He can like repair everything. Fucking plumbing. Anything like in the garden, like chopping down trees, like pruning it. He knows everything because he's a traditional farmer from back in India, but he's a farmer with a fucking high IQ, right? So he's just a beast. He's a beast. He's got unstoppable energy. He just can't be slowed down. He just does nothing but work, right? Like he took it 80, 100 hours a week. He was
able to build himself.
Yes, that's all he did, and all he really cared about was like giving it to his children.
Name and his honor within the community where you at.
And he did it. Right, he did it, and like he was very, very respected. You know what I'm saying? So then, he has my dad. Right, my dad idolizes him as you'd expect. Right, so you got like a father who's like this figure in the Punjabi community, and you've got like your father. You see, your father can do anything. Like nothing can stop him. You can see he's so smart. Like he's able to be. He's got all these. He's like you look at him as God, right? And that's how my dad saw him. And my dad, I'd say, like, I think because my granddad, I'd say, just wasn't grounded as a man. I'd say he was very religious and, like, probably wasn't as, like, a leader.
He was too kind-hearted for his own
100%, 100%.
When you're too kind-hearted, you let stuff slip or people take advantage.
100%, 100%. Too kind-hearted for his own good. Yeah. So he'd do all that. Boundaries weren't there with his wife, dude. Right. Yeah. It wasn't there. So because it wasn't there, he couldn't rule the house, right? So already there was dysfunction creeping in. My dad's coming up in it. How he's kind of like parenting my dad is like telling him, you're going to inherit all my empire. You're going to inherit all this. Don't worry about it. I'll give you everything. Like, it's a bit inappropriate, you know what I'm saying? Like, rather than saying, let's be leaders, let's be strong, let's like refine ourselves. It's like, you're going to take all this. And then it gets dark because my granddad died pretty early, right? He died at 60.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. It was a tough. Yeah, man, he inspired us all, right? So he dies at 60. My dad at that time is 30, right? I'm about 4 or 5. This is where the story just goes to shit, right? So up till then, I'm coming up. My parents' marriage, I'd say, was dysfunctional as fuck, You know, all this shit going on. My dad ain't right. I'd say he never really quite was right. I think he's got some autism, right? As in he's a bit socially weird.
What is the aspects of him being socially weird that made you say that he was autistic?
I'd say it's the fact that like we never really had conversations. Like growing up, I never had a conversation with him. I'd say he never really understood my needs or even how to be a parent really well. The basic way he operated was he went to work, he came back kind of like stressed out a bit, worked really long hours, like just basically just killed himself and wasn't really in touch with any emotions or was just like a robot more or less.
So you kind of felt neglected.
100%. So there was no one like actually looking at me, telling me you're going to be, there's no guidance. There was no freaking, there was no structure. There was just nothing really. They just basically put me in front of the TV, put me in front of video games, left me to it. Right.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that when you do that to your child, he grows up pretty messed up.
Yeah.
To me too. When you feel a lack of love or acceptance from your own parents, you grow up kind of fucked up.
Oh yeah, most definitely I did. So that's happening, and the whole context. Like my grandmother, as I was mentioning to you, she was so evil and sadistic that like when my parents got married, my dad went over to India to get an arranged marriage with my mother. I can say my mother was like a very beautiful woman, like. She looks pretty much like a model, right? So she's absolutely beautiful, stunning. Now, I didn't get those looks. My brother did, though. My brother looks like, you see.
When you showed me the picture, I couldn't believe like night and day difference.
Night and day difference. He's beautiful. He's handsome. He could be a model. He inherited my mom's looks, but I feel like I inherited like my drive and like my work ethic.
You also get the Sikh genetics, being 6'5".
6'5". So I got that going for me, right?
Generally, Sikh people, right, they're more than 6 feet tall.
Generally, yes.
Yeah, anyone I met that's from Sikh heritage, you guys are usually like. You got like a stocky build.
Yeah.
Muscle easy, and you're usually not even 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2". So you did get a little something.
I got a little something. Not in the face department, unfortunately.
Sorry about that.
You got that, although they can't see it because of the badge that we got over here. But you work with what you got.
One day.
Yeah. But so basically, what happens is, mum comes over. She's a sweet girl, like from a Punjabi village. So just imagine, like, growing up on a dairy farm, right, in traditional rural India, right, never smoked, never drank, never watched TV, like extremely religious. Like she knew from the time she was born she's just going to be someone's wife, right? And
so she was a village girl?
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean literal village, and I mean literal like growing up where there isn't like electricity, like shit like that, right? Seriously. Yeah. Seriously. True village, dude. Like organic dairy farm, like Punjabi Jat farmers, right? Really religious, right? From a really great home. Like grandparents are lovely, right? She's got 4 or 5 siblings. Just very religious type of people, right? Believe in God, always in, we call it the Punjabi Gurdwara, right? That's the Sikh temple. Exactly? It's the Sikh temple, right? Where you believe, where you serve God, you say your prayers every day, you like clean and that, and they were super religious into that shit, right? So, at around like, I think 18, 19, 20, something like that, my dad comes over there, he's like checking out different women. He can see, okay, this one's stunning, she's from a great home. Let's do this. So they get married, and my grandmother, as I said, like she's just a nightmare, just a complete nightmare, right? Just a complete nightmare. Basically, like I'm not going to go into it now because I don't think I'm ready to talk about it.
No,
but
take all the time you need, so we can move forward.
Else. I'd say it was just
Thank you for sharing, though.
Most definitely, I'd say it was a very toxic circumstance. So. Why I led all this, right? Why I created all this story is like she's pregnant with me in a very toxic circumstance, right? When a woman is that stressed during pregnancy, right, the child inherits a lot of his trauma, right? With that level of stress hormones, when a woman's pregnant, the child comes into the world with the mother's physiology saying, this is a dangerous environment. This is a dangerous place, right? If you come into this world, this child has to be braced because it's a war zone right now. So I'm born, and guess what? I'm pretty much born with anxiety. Literally. Yes. Okay. Literally. So my mother told me I was crying like 12, 14 hours a day. Every day.
That's a lot to handle.
Yes. Most definitely it was.
Do you go to like doctors to get diagnosed? or anything?
Yeah, man. So we know she took me around. We got all the doctor shots and all of that, and the doctors were saying like this your child is unusually stressed, right?
High
Unusually.
levels of anxiety.
Yes, and she said, but the doctors at that time, she's in this kind of like industrial part of England. The doctors are telling her, your baby will be fine. We've heard that this sometimes happens. Just be very present. All she's ever wanted in her life is to have a child. That's the only goal she's ever had, not anything else. So this is how different that society was from the one that we're in. All she ever wanted was kids, nothing else. That's her only goal, nothing else. Family, children. If I can have a child, jackpot. So she was happy. She was fucking happy with like just kids. Like she loved it. She said it was the best time of her life. She was taking care of me and like doing our best. Our environment's crazy. Dad's like working crazy hours, trying to like get his shit together. Mum's like very stressed because of like environment, grandmother, all that sort of shit. Then all of a sudden, granddad dies, and just my dad is destroyed, like just so traumatized. He becomes a fucking monster overnight, rageaholic, just crazy person. So I'm coming up and I'm just getting more and more anxious. I'm so anxious as a kid that by the time I start school, I can't even for the first 2 years of school actually physically get into the classroom. For the first 2 years of school, I'm sitting in the cloakroom where all the kids put their fucking...
You took that baggage, and as you started your life in school, I'm assuming, let's take the viewers there, that school for you was also another high level anxiety.
Yes.
Just because of your upbringing and what was going on. It was hard for you to fit in, so why don't we dig into that?
Yeah, pretty much. My body was in stress from the time I was born.
Okay.
Going into school, it just elevated a new level, right? I think I was really attached to my mother. So going into a school environment, my body didn't feel safe and my mind didn't feel safe. And all I really had was this like chronic feeling of anxiety, chronic feeling of, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. So guess what? I refused. They couldn't physically get me into class. I'd go into the cloakroom, I'd get my coat, put it over me and just lay down and hide myself and cry all day. For the first
How old were you?
4, 5.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah, that type of age. Do that all day. And the school didn't really think about it. This is not an enlightened time, right? This is like 20.
Yeah, if it was now, there'd be like more medical help.
Yeah.
Procedures to help you get fixed.
There was nothing.
Back then, it's just like, what do we do?
Let him grow out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him grow out of it. That was it. So that was what was going on. It was let him grow out of it. 2 years like that. Eventually, as I'm going into other classes and stuff, I make a friend. He starts to get me out. And then I'm kind of like trying to navigate the world. I've got a friend, I've got a best friend, and then things get a bit spicy. So actually I developed some ability. Once I've got a friend and I've got a way to like speak to people, things start normalizing. Things start petering out a little bit. I calm down. All of a sudden, I'm quite interested in school. I'm quite good at it. I learn fast.
So your mental shift from like anxiety to more of a relaxed state.
Yeah, just going into a relaxed state because I had a fucking friend, right, to co-regulate, as we know in nervous system dysregulation. By having a friend and like a safe space, what we do in CMU essentially, I could co-regulate. My nervous system dropped out of tension, and my actual abilities came out.
No, it's like, you know me, like I've coached more than like hundreds and hundreds of men. All of them feel alone. All of them feel scared. All of them feel unwanted or unheard or unlistened to. So they need a community or brotherhood to like vent out. But as you know, in today's society, you're shamed for showing your feelings. So this is why we're all like kind of messed up in the head.
That's it. It's happening to a lot of us, man. So I start actually sinking into my actual ability. All of a sudden, I'm creative. I can read really well. I'm really interested. I'm fascinated by school. I'm actually pretty able, getting good grades, like one of the more intelligent people. And, start to believe in myself like, shit, man, I actually can go far in life. But of course, I'm in the ghetto. Of course, I'm in an environment where there's no one really aspirational to anything. Like we don't know success. We don't see nothing. We're from humble beginnings. But as I go into secondary school, that's where shit really starts to, take a turn. So, go into secondary school, right? And for whatever reason, the shift from like primary school is what we call it in England. And then I guess you'd call it like kind of like it's just before high school. I guess you guys would call it middle school.
Middle school, high school, elementary.
Yeah. It's when I was like 11, 12. It was that sort of time. When I'm going into that environment, this school that I was at was brutal, dude. Brutal. Absolutely. It's one of the worst schools in England, right? It was a failing school.
In the hood or something?
Yeah, it was in the hood, right? And just to give you context of how bad it was, kids weren't even passing. They weren't equipped for life. So it was considered by the UK government a failing school, right? So there wasn't enough kids actually getting grades. Or kids were like selling weed and shit, dude. Like it was a mess. And the kind of like, I remember, we call them in England chavs, right? They're like hood kids, lower class, right? There's no progression. There's no like, put it this way, right? The way that all these people are speaking and acting, it's in England, it's considered like very lower class, and they haven't got we call it social capital.
Right.
Social capital being the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. They know this guy's put
social awareness.
Yeah, all that. It's not there.
They're from a different socioeconomic background.
Exactly.
So the upbringing I get what you're saying.
It ain't preparing you for success in life. Right. So this is a brutal environment, dude. This is like daily fights. This is like gangs. This is terrible. So what happens is my anxiety comes back. It was not there in my previous school because I got a friend. I'm starting to do well in school. It comes back again. When it comes back, dude, this is, again, like this is the core premise of CMU. When it came back and I doubted myself again, it was like jackals. It was like animals trying to find a weak to prey on, right? It was like that. Because I was fearful and I was...
felt as if you were being hunted?
And I was like that, yeah. Because I was like fearful and I was depending on my friend who, for whatever reason, he just didn't have the same level of anxiety because he had a far better upbringing than me. So with him, I was kind of like, okay, I was navigating places, but the level of fear and being quiet and being like just socially shut off, and I had shitty social skills, all that, right? I couldn't express myself. I was a shut down human being because of fear, because of the emotion of fear and anxiety. And then what starts to hurt is like some of the guys like me. I didn't really have problems like that, but like the girls, like it hurt me when a lot of them just took pleasure in like letting me know that I'm ugly, that like I'm undesirable, that no girl wants to be. Honestly, dude, I think it's just a toxic culture where like.
Were they also like of a different race?
Yes, racism too, of course. Yeah. So look, I'm brown. I'm coming up in like a mostly all white school, right? There's maybe one or two black kids, maybe, bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like that's the kind of context I was in, and it wasn't an enlightened time. It was like, it was tough, right? And the level of like we weren't socially accepted. We were just like invisible people walking around, and there's some brown girls, but they're like super kind of like conservative, mean, right? Just not nice.
What are some of the things that they would do to you or say?
Like I remember just in different contexts, like just waiting around for a class and they're saying, "You're ugly. You're never gonna find a girl." Like shit like that, right? Or like
you were like 13 at the time.
Yeah.
That would definitely cause like a lifetime effect.
It did. Yeah, unfortunately. And other times where like I'm just kind of like sitting there, maybe in line or something, and like maybe accidentally brush into them and turn around and go, you shouldn't touch me. And it went on. The shit I would see from like women in school was like just so bad, dude. And as I got older, it just got like, by the time I was 16, 17, it was more racially charged, right? So it was like girls actually saying, I'd never date an Indian guy. I'd never date a brown guy, like stuff like that, right? And you're hearing it, like, what the fuck?
It's still going on till now.
Yeah, it is still, yeah. And just sitting on the bus and just hearing girls talk about like, I got so many guys asking me for my number, but there's one, I don't think I can do it. Oh no. And her friend was kind of asking her, why is that? And she's like, he's Indian. And they're like, like this type, you're in this context. You're in this context where you're like a minority. People are literally, you're literally hearing on a weekly basis how you're disgusting, how like no one wants you there.
Day in and day out.
Yes.
They're going to brainwash you too.
Of course. So that is happening a lot in school, and like it makes me like just lose faith in like womankind, because I'm coming up in a like culture. The problematic thing that probably fucked my mind up so much was my parents really valued like marriage and traditional values. Like my mum really pressured me to get married. She really, from the time I was like 13, she's like, don't get a girlfriend. You cannot get a girlfriend. You're going to get married. We're going to find you a girl. You're going to get married. And that was the kind of context, right? And like, she's telling me all this shit that, you know, we're going to find you a girl and all this shit. But I'm thinking to myself, like, these women out here are treating me like shit. I don't think I want this. Like, I don't think I want, I began to get like, it was really like, I couldn't express to like, Mum, I don't know if I even want to do this, because I'm like,
feeling of like hopelessness.
yes. So like, you know, all that's going on, and I've really got no one to confide in. But despite going to one of the lowest performing schools in Britain, by the time, you know, one thing that was interesting that happened to me, I didn't have like, you know, I'm coming up, I don't have the internet, I don't have smartphones, I don't have any of this shit. When I'm about 16, that's when they do a big exam in the UK called the GCSEs, right? It's like kind of like the SATs, right? So it means
to get into like a good college?
yeah, kind of like that, right? So what happened was there was no aspiration in that school. They thought, well, if you're here, that's great. I had no vision, I had no dream. I didn't know I'm going to be a fucking entrepreneur or whatever before I was a project manager, whatever. I didn't think I was going to have a professional career. I thought pretty much, you know, I'll go to school, then I'll just settle down, I'll get a fucking office job or something, I don't know. I had no idea what I was going to do, and no one else had a fucking clue. This was a location where no one had any dreams. And then I got the internet. And then I got the fucking internet. When I finally got the internet in my house, I think I was about 16, 17 or something like that. Something like that, right? I was going online and looking at like these student forums and like student communities. And I remember there was a particular forum I went on, and there was a bunch of people talking about how they're predicted to get like 12 A's or something like that, right? And when I saw it, I just like laughed. I was like, huh, that's funny. Because I thought it was a joke. Because I didn't know anyone, and I had no idea that there was anyone who was like going to university and doing things with their life. I didn't know. I was literally from the hood. So I didn't know.
Yeah, you thought that was not possible.
I had no fucking idea. I'd never seen, the thought didn't come to me.
Right.
The thought never came to me. So when I saw that, you know what? That was one of the angriest I've been in my life. I can tell you, when I saw that, when I realized, wait a minute, this is real. The level of anger I had, I can't even describe it to you. I can't even describe it to you. The injustice, the fucking anger at the society I was put in, the fact that I went to a shithole school.
Did you feel jealous about this?
Of course. I thought, we didn't have opportunity. Us own teachers didn't give a fuck about us. Right? And when I saw there's people in this country who are able to get good educations, who are able to go to good universities, whose teachers want them to pass, who actually are getting good grades, it turned me into a level of like rage that I never experienced before. And after that moment of rage, I said, fuck it, I'm done being a loser. It happened in one moment. It changed my life. So I'm done. I'm done with this society. I'm done with being failed by the system. I'm fucking done. And if my teachers ain't going to do it, I'll do it myself. So, bro, I went on this community and said, look, I'm from the fucking hood. I got nothing. How can I get grades like you people? They're like, yeah, sure. We'll tell you. You got to get these books. You got to go learn this, learn that. Go after school. Ask.
So, you were a kid from the hood, shitty school.
Yeah.
And you found this forum
You
of
forum.
people with a successful life going to successful school.
Literally.
And you told yourself, fuck that shit.
Yes.
And you took it upon yourself to message them for help.
Yes.
Okay.
Literally. I was like, dude, what can I do? Like, no one, I don't know what to do. Like, even my teachers aren't helping me. It's okay, fine. We'll help you. This is what we do. So they told me it's possible if you start now, yes, your grades right now, you're predicted shit. But if you work hard now, in a few months, you're going to have like these mock tests coming up. Again, our teachers didn't even tell us. But they're like, if you do well in these, your predicted grades will go up. And if your predicted grades can get up to like the AB range, then there's a possibility that you can go to university. So I was like, okay, I'll do anything. So basically, I went after school to all the teachers and told them, look, I want to get an A. Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. When I told that to all the teachers, they fucking laughed.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
If you're still ghetto school, they'd probably say, go fuck yourself.
They laughed. They're
I
like,
didn't want to say that.
yeah.
To see.
Yeah, they laughed. Yeah, but then they said, all right, Ravi, that's funny. I'll see you in class tomorrow. Right? So,
Shutting your dreams down.
yeah, they did. And guess what? I went back to tomorrow. So listen, Mr. Griffiths, you don't understand. I need to get an A. I can't live like this.
What was the reason why you needed that A so bad? So you wanted to like get out the hood?
Bro, I needed to get out the hood.
Right.
I needed to get out
So
that
was your
shit.
drive
Yeah,
at that time.
because think about it this way. All the women in this whole city treat me like a garbage can. There's no jobs, there's nothing. If I don't leave, not only am I going to be a fucking virgin forever, I'm never going to have a girlfriend, I'm never going to have a decent job. It's fucking done. So the only way is I'm going to have to be one of the few children in this fucking school that is getting out. I have to be the anomaly. So I came back to him again the next day, and he's like, okay, you're serious, aren't you, Ravi? It's like, yeah. So, okay, Ravi, if you're serious, at the end of school today, I'll make time specifically for you. You come back and I'll tell you what you need to do. Okay? So I went home. There was a PlayStation 2 at the time, right, when I was a kid. I turned off my PlayStation 2. I switched it off. I plugged it out. I put it in the cupboard. I stopped everything. Everything. All I did was study. Day in, day out. I didn't listen to music. Didn't do nothing. Monk mode I was doing early. 14, 15. Yeah.
Most started.
Before monk mode started. 14, 15. Wouldn't watch TV. Nothing.
Nick Tyler was that bullshit.
All that.
All that crap.
But I took action. So I went back to him the next day. So after school, he said, okay. When I walked in this office at 3, he's never seen a kid with this level of drive. He looked at me and said, okay, if you want to get an A right now, you're not predicted to do very well, but if you start now, I'll help you. Okay? So he told me what to do. He says, go away. Here's a textbook. He gave it to me, right? He said, read these topics. I'm going to give you some assignments, complete them, and then I'll grade them. I'll grade them, and then I'll explain to you where you're going wrong, and that way I'll help you correct it to get you up into that range. Okay? And I just went off, dude. Became basically like a man obsessed, right? All of a sudden, my brain was like coming to life. All I had really lived was a stressful life of like fucking dysfunction. I've got structure now. I've got structure every day, coming back, studying, hours and hours, then go to bed. Getting up, studying, go to bed. Every fucking day like a machine. Nothing else, right? And I'm getting positive feedback, right? And the teachers are like, Ravi's getting it in all my subjects. In every subject. They're like looking around.
Say you're one of the few people there getting an A's.
Literally. Literally.
At all in that community.
There was me, and there was 2 or 3 others who also, they're anomalies though, but that's out of 500 people. So
Basically, like
it's
1%.
less than that. Yeah. So, I keep hustling, I keep working, grades going up, right? And then, listen, the exams come around, and I'm going into these exams confident, happy, because all I've done for 6-7 months before them, study, pass the practice test, study. Pretty much, dude, I learned in that time of my life, if you put your mind to anything, you can get it. If you work hard enough, you can get it. If you ain't going to quit, you can make anything happen. You just need to get some help along the way, which is what I've always done in my life. So, yeah, I smashed those exams, and all of a sudden I'm like, look, I got one of the highest grades in my school. Guess what? I may be from this bullshit, but I'm going to make it, right? Now, of course, after those exams, it's a long summer, right? I'm now not studying. I'm now not in structure anymore. Yeah. My lifetime of conditioning, my parents didn't tell me to study. My parents didn't give me good habits. They didn't do shit. They didn't know what was going on. They weren't supervising me. They weren't giving me good feedback. When school wasn't in practice anymore, when there was no like...
So you like loosened up a little
Of course, loosened up too much. And my brain wasn't... I'd studied for a year or 2, yeah. But before that, my whole life, I was an unstructured kid.
Right, I understand.
Yeah, so I picked up the computer again, picked up the fucking,
You went back to your old habits?
all that, yeah,
Okay.
all that,
So
unfortunately.
you kind of regressed in a way.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, regressed. Then I'm going online again, because now I've got this belief in my head that I'm smart and that I can just pass. So I can go back to my old habits where I do things last minute, procrastinate, all that. I didn't know, I was a kid. So, yeah, I went from having the highest grades to pretty much coming back, and all the habits are gone. Now I'm not getting up early. Now I'm not hustling. Now I'm not like everyday studying. Now I'm like just sitting on the computer, browsing the internet, all that type of bullshit. So I went from having the highest grades to the lowest. Cocked.
Find the lowest. What's the lowest? Like
Bro,
C's and D's?
no lower than that. Like yeah. Because dude,
So you went from an A to an F.
yes. Bad, dude, bad. Literally, because I thought I was invincible. All my teachers loved me. I was having a great time, right? So I forgot everything. I was like, my mind was so fucked up from birth, dude, and the culture I was in, like, it was messed up. I didn't have clear vision of life, right? So it messed me up. And then what adds to it even worse, I'm 17, 18 now, right? I start drinking. In England at 18, guess what you're doing?
Legal age?
Bro, you have to drink at 18 in England when I was coming up. At 18, you have to drink.
It's pretty early, man.
But that's what they do in England. Legal. You can go into bars, you can go into clubs at 18. You see?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, literally, it's legal. Not only that, but the English drinking culture is so, like, I don't know how it's like now. I think it's changed. But when I was coming up, at 18, you're in the fucking pub. You're drinking. On the weekends, you're getting hammered, blackout drunk every week. Yeah. So with a kid who's had a history of anxiety, what do you think it's going to do? My mental illness is back. Yeah. Fucked up. And I'm in a racist city. So what do you think's happening when I'm going out to the clubs? What do you think? Blow out. Fucking, exactly. Nothing. Yeah. So now guess what? I'm in a spiral. So guess what happens? It gets worse. I get the worst job imaginable, right?
How'd you find it?
So my mum, bless her, all she knows is how to push me to work.
Right.
That's all she knows. She didn't know nothing else. Already talked about her background. Basically, by the time I was 11, Ravi, you go to work. Got a paper round. Ravi, you go to work. Got 5 paper rounds in the end. Pushed. Hustling kid. I've been getting up at 6 a.m. since I was 11 years old, doing 5 paper routes. 16, Ravi, you got to work, get a job. Get a fucking retail job. But guess what? How do you think a retail job in the hood's going to go? Yes. And let me add to it. How do you think a retail job in the hood next to a big English pub is going to go? Even worse.
Right.
So here's the thing. When I was 16, right, there was a big store that opened up, right? A big like grocery store, right, in the middle of town. Okay. And because it was new, loads of people were coming to it. And it's a rundown community in the hood. And they've got this huge store now. And they're like quite excited. And there's all these people coming over. These are like working class industrial English people. So the manager of this store, and this is a big store, it's doing a lot, it's doing good numbers. The manager of this store has never been a manager before. Okay? He used to have a job in the police. He got through like a scheme to where it was a fast track into management, retail management.
Probably some connect to
something like that. No doubt. So he's now got a store that he's managing. This store's doing 6 figures a week, and he's never been a manager before. Okay, and his team are a bunch of fucking 16 and 17-year-olds who've never had a job before. How do you think this goes?
Fuck that, sounds like a circus.
It was bro. This was the worst job I've ever fucking had. This was hell. This was chaos. Every day you'd come in, no one knew what to do. Of course, it's stacking shelves, all that kind of bullshit. But because it was so dysfunctional, these motherfuckers were having us there till 3, 4 a.m., not paying us. And my mum was like forcing me to work. And like there was fights between employees and shit. This was like really, really bad. Like the whole culture was toxic. Like there was no management. There was no like ethics. There was no like professionalism. You come in, your colleagues are like, bad mouthing you and shit. They're fighting each other. Like, so you do this, you go this. It's fucked. And my mum is forcing me to do it every day. I'm getting more depressed, more mentally destroyed. Like, I can't describe how bad my life was at this point, right? All I've ever had is like, shitty, checked out, unsupportive dad, right? He just wasn't even bothered. Didn't even speak to me. Like, just goes to work, comes back, lays down in his trauma, does the same thing
So
next.
pretty much like ignored you.
Pretty much.
Like a workaholic.
Yeah, workaholic to cope with his loss of his dad. Right.
Which affected him for a long time.
It fucked him up bad. Fucked him up.
Your mom was more of the one that was pushing you.
Yeah, but all she knew was that.
Okay.
Push. She didn't know how to nurture. She didn't know how to take care. She didn't know how to have conversations. Didn't know how to have anything.
Because it sounds like to me there was a lot of like lack of love.
Massively. I'd never felt it. I'd never felt it my whole life. All I felt was like push, anger, negative emotions, stress, anxiety. This is a torture chamber. Torture. Yeah? And all I'd seen is violence and anger and aggression and no love ever. Even my parents, like, they had a weird relationship. My parents never slept in the same bed. To this day, they don't.
That's messed up.
It's all dysfunctional. It's dysfunction on dysfunction on dysfunction, which...
Yeah, that definitely plays a role into, like, unhealed, unsolved trauma.
Massively. And it affects how you, like, negative experiences with women. All this cocktail coming together was why I was as fucked up as it is. But we'll get to that. No doubt.
Back to the job.
Yeah. So the job, dude, is like pretty much a war zone. People, like, it's just ghetto people. They're literally racist. Yeah. So these people are, you know, drinking in the pub, coming over, like, talking shit to me and stuff. Like, I'm getting abused by customers and I have to serve them. And that every day I'm going there getting insulted, like, by staff and customers alike. It's shocking. Right. And I'm trying to, like, you know, be positive, like, do things.
How would they insult you?
Bitter, passive aggressive, like, you know, like these are the most scum of the earth people you can imagine. They'll come in, right, and purposefully try and piss you off and purposefully make your day worse. Like, do you think this is because this is service? Who do you think you are? Just insulting. I can't believe how ugly these human beings were. Shocking. England, the UK, I'd say, you know, I'm very happy that I'm an entrepreneur. I get to live anywhere I want. It's a very fucked up society. It really is. It's a very unhappy place, right? So the manager of the store, right, he was a joke. Just to give you an idea of how bad my colleagues were, whilst I was working there, one of the guys I worked with literally went to jail for murdering his wife. Literally.
And he has a job?
Yeah. No, dude. Whilst I was working there, one day he didn't show up, and we found out the next day he murdered his wife. This is the kind of fucked up situation.
He got arrested, right?
He did, of course. He got arrested. Yeah. My homie's out of here. He's in jail right now.
Hey, man, I'm here to clock in.
Yeah, no, bro. And other people who this guy employed had been in jail before. Like, he hired criminals and shit. Shocking.
It's a bunch of convicts.
Yeah, a bunch of jokes. So, you know, that type of situation was unfolding. Another funny story from them was, like, this is how dysfunctional it was. There was a lady called Mary Bale who was, like, on the news because she went viral for throwing a cat in a bin. That happened just outside my store that I was working in. So yeah, look, all this shit that's happening for me now, 17, 18, you know, head's all fucked up, depressed, anxious, binge drinking. I'm trying to find some sort of meaning and improving myself. So I do this sport called powerlifting, right? This probably was the worst sport I could have done because...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, with all that stress, did you do anything socially to improve
yourself?
Yourself, like working out or any kind of self-improvement?
Yeah, with all this shit going on, my thinking was, well, how am I going to get a girlfriend? I'm fucked up. I haven't got any value to me. So I started doing powerlifting, competing in powerlifting. Powerlifting was a very brutal sport, dude. Very brutal sport.
Now I see where your fucking obsession of going deadlifting.
Yeah,
15 came from.
It came from where when I entered, like, it was like a pain chamber. At this time, powerlifting was a really niche sport. Not many people knew about it. It was an unusual.
How it is now.
It's all big now, yeah. But back then, right? It attracted these really hard, unusual men, right? To do this sport, you're going into these gyms where there's, like, chains being attached to bars and there's, like, very heavy metal music playing and everyone's got tattoos head to toe. And
so more like hardcore type of
that's the kind of environment.
Rebels, rejects.
Exactly. Rebels, that's the only people who did the sport back then. Yeah, just these people who were, like, hard men, right? Who didn't give a fuck, who were tough. And that was the crowd that I found in. Those people were good to me. That was finally a group where people believed in me.
Well, I would believe so because, like, if you're rejected by society, you're gonna look at somebody else, and that's where I got mixed up in myself. You know, when I met other kind of like rebels of society too, because I was just like, oh shit, they're not judging my race or me being ethnic. They see me as a human being. But as you know, my story is like I got mixed in with the wrong type of people. Yeah. But we all learn from our mistakes.
We're going to get into that one. And it's very similar to you. I get involved with a lot of these, like, tough guys. I gain a lot of weight, which was not good for a low SMV man. That's the worst thing you could have done. I'm doing powerlifting. I'm getting strong and getting huge, right? I'm like 18, 19, squatting.
How much did you weigh?
So I got up to almost like 275.
God damn.
Yeah.
At
but
that age?
Yeah, 18, 19. Yeah, but I was strong, dude. I was huge. I was like, doing squats of 400 pounds, right, for reps. Doing deads
You
with
still like at 18, were you at your max height or you like 6'1", 6'2"?
no, about 6'2", 6'3".
So
Yeah.
probably at 21 you hit your 6'6".
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. But yeah, dude, I'm just training like so hard, so brutal, and like I'm pushing myself, and I learn how fucking tough I am as a human. Like I'm in this environment, these guys are making me really tough. Like they push me like you couldn't believe, and they had me for like 3 years, and they just helped me like understand that they taught me things about the mind, yeah, and they taught me that like your limits are where you believe you can go, and you right now, Ravi, you've got a voice that tells you can't, and you just can't listen to it. And I've got that voice that says I can't do it.
Kind of like words of wisdom, any role model from the gym?
I would say so. Yeah, there were several, and they were world champions. So one thing I've always done in my life, I've always tried when I do something, I always try and find the best possible person at it. Right. If I'm doing business, I find the best possible mentors. If I'm doing dating, I find the best possible mentors. Hence, I found you. Right. If I'm doing anything in sport, I find the best possible people. In powerlifting, there was a local gym where it was from a family that had all been world champions. So anyone who's a world champion in any sport, there's a reason, right? Their mentality, the structured way they live, their obsession. I learned that anyone who's elite, bro, they're fucking crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I promise you. Exactly. Yeah.
To the choir, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
All these successful people, I've learned that they had either fucked up lives, fucked up stories, or they were a bit fucked in the head to get successful.
Most definitely. Dude, I can tell you, anyone I know who's elite.
No, you gotta really like tap into like a place that no person can go in order to achieve that kind of success. You have to be relentless and ambitious.
And it taught me things. It taught me like if you want something, bro, you have to be obsessed. You have to give it heart and soul. Your head, your mind, your body, you have to be fully locked in as one to achieve something. But if you can do that, there's no limits to where you can go.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, and I learned these people, I had good influences like world champions early on, teaching me that you can go far in life. Yeah, so I used to like hustle, get on my little push bike, go down, train with them after my college. And, I wasn't great socially. My grooming was shit. My style was shit, But I wanted to change myself. And I believe it could be done. So what happened was, bro, like 18, basically I was from the shitty environment, like I told you. I had at this point, like I lost a lot of my friendships at 18 because, people move around, whatever. There's a lot of toxic people, get snaked and all this sort of shit. So I was like, fuck this shit, right? So really the only friends I've got that are like solid people are these guys competing in powerlifting.
So your inner circle kind of like vanished.
It vanished at 18,
the rebels and rejects from the gym.
That was all I had. Yeah.
You could say your extended family.
Pretty much.
Basically like
I literally.
The father that you needed around to help.
Literally.
Like a strong masculine father at that time.
100%.
As your father was healing through the loss of your granddad.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that's how it was for me, right? But some of the extremes that were happening then, a lot of drinking, going out to these shitty clubs, just to give you an indicator of how shit my situation was, I was getting so anxious and depressed. Learning just shut down. My brain wasn't working properly no more. When it came to learning how to drive, I got so anxious and mentally ill over like so much binge drinking, so much stress, so much extreme pressure in powerlifting. I literally failed my test like 7 fucking times, right? And I couldn't think. I wasn't in this world. What I now know is...
Going through your head to feel it so many times. That's the thing.
Yeah. So what I now know is when you're deep in your trauma, there's something they say it's called checked out. You're checked out. Oh. So you're here, but you're not really.
I get that sometimes too.
Yeah.
When I phase out from just personal trauma.
Yeah. That's where I was. So I was more or less checked out. So I couldn't focus on anything. My parents were just not present for me. My dad was out of the game. My mum was barely able to do anything other than tell me just go work, right? My mind and body was shutting down, dude. And like, all I was doing was more stress on more stress, binge drinking every weekend, then pushing myself to the extreme in powerlifting. Nothing was going in, So all it was, bro, like through sheer grit on the 7th time I got through my test, right? Just by me, a persistent brown man like I always have been.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Was there any point in your life where you turned to God or religion to help you?
Yeah. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. Around, okay. I lost a lot of my faith when I was always religious growing up. and it helped me. It kept me grounded,
Right.
and it was a source of strength and belief. And when I was actually doing well in school, I was extremely religious, right? So praying every morning, praying every night, and just studying. Then I become quite dysfunctional. However, around 19, right, after all the driving mess and all that shit, I'm so fucked at this point. I'm lost. I just failed my exams in high school, and I literally don't know what to do anymore. Literally. So they came back really bad grades, like F, right? And now I'm lost.
Kind of at your breaking point.
Yeah, total breaking point.
Okay.
Total. Done. Everything's done. There's no other option left, right? So I failed. Okay. When that happened to me, my faith was no longer there. I didn't believe anymore. I didn't believe there was anyone up there anymore, so to speak. And I remember I came back, and for the first 2 weeks, all I had left was this terrible job in retail. And I was like, I fucked my life up, right? I have nothing. I was on track 2 years ago when I was killing it. Now there's nothing. 2 weeks of numbness and thinking, what the fuck am I going to do now? I stopped believing that I was going to be okay. My mind is shattered, my body shattered. However,
was there any kind of like deep reflection during
Yes.
that depressive state?
there was.
Because I had situations like that too. Even though it's like a feeling of hopelessness and emptiness, you kind of like unlock a deeper thinking because you're trying to figure out like what's wrong with you exactly. Or what can you
100%.
do?
That's exactly what happened. This is an interesting one because my life's been a funny one. Every time I've had L's, I've turned it into a W. I had that massive L and I'm lost. I'm like, what am I going to do now? So what happens is I go to my shitty job doing retail, and 2 weeks later, I come back home. I don't know what I'm going to do anymore, but I switch on the TV and it's Talk Sport. It's like radio in England, right? And there's a guy who runs a political show about society, culture, politics. And I'm like fogged up, right? I don't know what I'm going to do. But I just turn it on and like I'm sitting down. It's late at night. I just finished work. I'm like 19, 20. Everyone else has gone to university at 18. I'm like fucked. And I'm listening to this show. I'm like, wait a minute. This is interesting. And he's talking about how people in society in England are disadvantaged. He's talking about how there's not access to good education. He's talking about the poverty in communities that means that people don't have a good life. And I'm understanding it. And I'm understanding this happened to me.
So is this more of like a news channel? Or
It's
like
a news.
podcast,
It's
or like a TED Talk.
It's like a news channel, but it's like a news show, right? So it's a guy who hosts it. He's a Scottish guy, and he's like a former politician, but he's so convincing, and he's like this firebrand, and he's like this
Like the nitty gritty.
exactly
Like
deep
talk
about policy,
like journalism,
all
and
that.
then goes and speak on the truth.
Yes. So he's like going, and all of a sudden, dude, I begin to understand what the fuck happened to me. I grew up in a shitty environment, and the environment gave me disadvantages. And when I understood this, I understood, wait a minute, Ravi, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Like, you had dysfunctional parents, you had a dysfunctional family, you had a dysfunctional school, you had dysfunctional friends.
Wow. So instead of victimizing, you actually started to understand your situation.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where the mind shift started. Seems like
Exactly. So after that, dude, when I finally I cycled home that day, fucking fat at this point, like anxious, depressed, low self-esteem from years of trying to talk to girls and not getting anywhere, years of trying to get a date with a girl and not getting anywhere. When I saw this politics show, right, that the anger I told you when I had that moment I saw it online with the kids doing well in school, the anger came back for 1 minute, and then it turned to hope. So okay, so when this guy was speaking, dude, on the TV, there was no thoughts going through my head. There was no noise. There was no depression. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
It was complete peace. And then I realized the shit opportunities I had in life did damage to me. And I understood how society and culture impacted me, how my upbringing impacted me. And I remembered I was like a top performer in school when I believed in myself. And when I lost my habits and structure, I sunk back into.
If you lose it, you can get it back. So
Yeah.
let's say this: when you have this awakening moment, Ravi, did you take any opportunity to say, "Fuck this shit, let me hustle"?
That's exactly it.
There had to be a turning point once you were feeling that. Once that clarity comes in, and the realization. So, what did you do?
That's a good point that you spin on, D. The light bulb went on. The hustler energy came back.
Cha-ching.
That's what happened, dude. I'm a born hustler, dude. That's what I am. To the bone. Blue collar, man. Work ethic to the fucking bone.
Saying, like,
That's what it is.
doing that work.
That's what I do. That's what I'm bred to do. As soon as that light bulb went on, I was like, motherfucker, I'm gonna make it again. So what I said to myself was, look, Ravi, you got no opportunities. Motherfucker, go make them. So I said, I'm going to use my intelligence. I'm going to use my street smart, right? So I started to research online. How can I like get into this? How can I like use this to get myself a degree? How can I use this to get a good education? How can I like now pivot? So I began to just like, when he was talking about these politicians on the TV and stuff and people who've made British society, I started looking up them and reading about their background and trying to understand how they became successful. And there was one that I found, and he used to be a prime minister in England, right? So he rose up to government office. But the interesting thing about him was he didn't have like, you know, traditional background. He was like working, you know, whatever. And then he decided to like take some additional like courses and stuff. And then he like became an accountant and he had a successful...
Like a hustler.
He was pretty much, I'd say.
People were like,
Yeah. So that inspired me. I was like, this motherfucker, like he had an unusual path and he made it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing as him. So what I did, I had that shitty job. And then I said, okay, well, I basically dropped out of high school because I failed the exams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find a way to teach myself, like rather than the SATs, they call it A-level in high school, right? And if you get
what is the A-level?
A-level is an exam you need to get into university, right?
Okay, so it's like a pathway into the
Exactly.
colleges.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. So if you get really good results in your A levels in England, you can go to like really top schools, right? So I decided I'm going to get to the best school I can possibly go to in England. Rather than in America, you call them like the Ivy Leagues, and it's like
Columbia and
like that.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And there was one that was not too far from me where I lived, and I was like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to find a way. So using my fucking pure hustler ability, I started to like find strategies. Like I worked out I can take courses by distance learning. I can take some A levels. I can like take government and politics, philosophy and religion, IT, all these things. And they normally take 2 years. Because the tuition fees was going to go up in 1 year, I had to self-teach. So I had no teachers. I had to self-teach 2 years worth of material in 1 year. Because if I didn't do it in that year, the tuition fees was going to triple.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck it. It's make or break. I'm going to do
You
this.
basically had this year to just like hustle your fucking ass.
Go to that
No-
shit job. Yeah.
No help, no
Nothing, nothing.
You set up the program.
Yeah.
You facilitated yourself. you
Exactly.
educated yourself, and
Exactly.
just got
Exactly. What? Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Get your flowers.
That's what I did, dude. Fucking night and day study like I was doing, bro. I was like, motherfucker, I ain't going out like this. Study, right? Do the practice exams, get good results, right? Every day I was going to my fucking shitty retail job again, but I'm stacking shelves and I'm thinking, okay, this is how I'm going to answer this question in the exam. This is how, obsessed, yeah? Get the results, guess what? 100 out of 100, the highest grades you can get. I didn't make a mistake. Like, maximum results, right? Across the board, right? So guess what? Now I'm going to an elite uni, right? The ability was there. The talent was there. I'm fucking trauma cell, dude. I got ability out the ass. It's just, mental. So guess what? Go to university, and you know what it is for me? It's a fresh start. Finally,
New chapter.
I'm not in the ghetto anymore. Finally, I'm with all these other people. They don't speak like me. They're like from good backgrounds and shit, right? They ain't got mental illness. They ain't got anxiety. They ain't got depression. They know that shit.
Yeah.
Everyone in the schools that they went to had great grades.
Happy kids.
Normal kids, bro. Normal
Hey,
kids.
how are you? Oh, shit,
Exactly.
Like messed up in the fucking head.
Yeah. They ain't getting up every day in hell. Normal. But first time I saw it, and I was just like, bro, the future's bright. But we say, some things come to collect. A bad past comes to collect. I wasn't a normal kid. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the social skills.
I wouldn't assume you are with all the bullshit you were.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm here now. Finally made it. Moved out. Finally at the parents' house. Did all this mountain moving to finally get myself to where it's going to be the first year I'm going to finally find a girlfriend now.
So you weren't a normal kid. We all got that.
Yeah.
Myself as well, because we had a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So that upbringing, you know, I know it's a part of you. You change your situation, which we all respect and love.
Yeah.
So there was still a part of you that was affected in the university, and how did that affect you?
So when I started, it was a fresh start. I was so excited. I was so confident for the first like 2-3 months, where I was like, everything's going to happen now. I'm smart. I'm capable. I'm gonna win. This is 50,000 people on this campus. I can find one girl. That's what I wanted. And it's so crazy. I was like, if I could
How old
find...
were you at that time? 21?
I'm 20.
20?
So it's, yeah, that's the sort of time, right? And, you know, fresh start, excited, living on campus, like, I'm chasing my dream. I'm chasing, like, a great degree. I'm chasing, like, finding a great girl. The world's at my feet. And after so many years of trying to figure my life out, now it's finally the time I'm going to reap the rewards, right? But wait a minute. After 2 months, I start feeling uncomfortable. After 2 months, I start feeling like I'm less than other people.
Why did you feel that after you turned yourself around? Because that doesn't make sense to me. What triggered that?
I think it's just trauma, man.
It just reoccurred again.
It just came back.
Okay. Was there anything that triggered it or something?
I think it was the drinking culture in university. Okay. I think in university, we drink a lot, we party a lot, right? I think it just triggered it again, to be honest with you. It was unhealthy, not sleeping much, going out, getting blasted out of my mind, drinking vodka and shit. And in particular, dude, I just didn't feel comfortable connecting with people. I felt a bit ashamed of myself, right?
That's what I was about to say. Because of your past, you were worried for people to judge you.
Exactly.
And especially since you quoted that you wanted a girlfriend, you didn't want that to like fuck you up too even more.
I was ashamed of being a virgin too.
Right.
Because these people all having sex. I'm like, shit, I've never done that.
Probably way younger.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not as good as these people. I'm different. Like, I'm a fucked up person. You know what I'm saying? So in particular, around girls, I just felt weird, dude. I just felt weird. Because again, look at the shitty experiences I had. So this causes me to spiral, and to try and like get some confidence, I drink even more. So I'm going out like
back to drinking again.
4 times a week.
Shit face.
Shit face, yeah. 4 times a week, shit face. Shit face.
Much,
That's what I was doing. Stupid.
Very stupid.
Stupid, bro.
Very stupid.
I know, bro. I didn't get it. So I ended up more depressed, more hopeless, and more sad than ever. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first year of university, bro. Can you imagine the darkness? I had this dream, and I came here and I fucking depressed again. Right?
So you had all this, you know, it happened again.
Yeah, it happened again.
You reach another place of darkness.
Yeah.
Did you look to any kind of outsources or resources for like help again? Or for help? Or did you start going on to forums or just, you know?
So, bro, what it was the first year, it was just chaos. Drinking, chaos. Trying to pass the exams, get through the first year. After the summer, the first year, bro, I was at a breaking point, literally at breaking point, at the point of destruction where I decided enough's enough. So what I actually did was I went backpacking to India. So after the first year of university, I had a friend back in the day. He was a very dysfunctional guy as well. He's a fucked up dude. But we were both fucked up, and we said, bro, let's just go back to him.
You found comfort in each other.
That's what, yeah. He was level 10 fucked up like me. So he was the same incel, all that. He's incel to this day. He didn't make it.
Get out of here.
Serious.
To this day?
To this day. Yeah.
What?
He didn't make it, bro. He stayed there.
Sorry to hear that.
It's tough, bro. But like, yeah.
Not everybody can handle the game.
Yeah. It's a hard game.
This is why, guys, you know, we tell you you only got one life to live, and if
You gotta make it. Literally. If you're from a bad background, you just can't quit.
Otherwise, you know, that background or that pain
Consumes you.
trauma would go with you to your grave.
That's it. But me and him went to India, right? We went to India. We went backpacking. So we traveled, and bro, I just wanted to find peace. I went there to like connect with God again, ask for peace and forgiveness, just trying to heal. I'm saying.
So that's basically what you did. So you found your buddy, you guys became friends.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you know what, fuck this shit,
Yeah.
my mind's fucked up.
Yeah.
Let's just have a backpacker trip to India.
That's what we did.
Got it.
We did it for like 3 months, bro. And you know, those first 12 months of uni, I just went straight, gritted teeth, stress, right? Forcing my smile, hiding myself, like at parties, like having panic attacks, like just pretending, right? I was watching my housemates come home from fun nights and dates and getting laid, whilst I just sit in my room pretending to study and saying I'm busy and shit, and like just recovering from my hangovers all the time, right? And I remember one time when I saw my reflection in their bus in the rain, I just didn't recognize myself anymore. And when I was avoiding eye contact with girls, I just fucking snapped and booked this trip to India. I booked a one-way ticket to reconnect with myself, right, and reconnect with my ancestry.
Okay.
Yeah. And I decided when I was in India, right, I was trying to understand, like, what the fuck is so wrong with me? Like, what is going on with me?
Well, that's good, though. You did have some self-awareness. And self-awareness is the key. It's the first step. But then it's taking the action of your self-awareness to change who you are.
Yeah. That self-awareness eventually led me to have the realization that, wait a minute, what if I glow up? What if I just change the way I look? So I decided I'm going to drop my weight. I'm going to change my look. I'm going to change my style. I'm going to find a fucking way to win. I'm going to find someone who knows how to change this. I'm going to do what I've always done. I'm going to find a community. I'm going to get expert help. So you know what I did? I'm in India. I'm there for 3 months. I'm losing weight. I come back to England. I'm like, no more losing.
How much weight did you lose?
About 30 pounds.
Nice.
It is
Still at the 2-something mark?
Nah, I dropped it. I dropped loads. I kept dropping.
That's especially from the gym.
Yeah. Way better at this point.
Okay.
Way better. After that trip, dude, I lost all my weight. I was like lean, looking good.
Okay.
And then I decided, okay, I'm going to find a way. So when I was in fucking India, I was reading all these spiritual books, and I was reading like this book called Siddhartha by Herman Hesse, and like I decided I'm going to find a way to get a girlfriend. When I came back to England, I joined a pickup artist forum.
Oh God.
This is yeah. That's what I did. This is what I did, bro.
No.
So I was like, when I came back from, because you know,
here we go.
down the rabbit hole. When I came back from India, bro, like I was reading all these religious books and texts, and it made me think differently. And it made me just be open-minded. And I was like, look, bro, I hated those pickup artists. I actually was on the women's side. I was like, these motherfuckers are manipulating women, right? They just want to have sex. These girls are princesses. They deserve beautiful husbands. They deserve to be treated with love and respect and kindness. I despise pickup artists to my core. But I was so desperate and I had nowhere else to go that I basically went on this community online, found wingmen, and started going out.
I mean, you know, I was in your shoes too, bro. I was suicidal, depressed, so I wanted to take my life. So when you reach a level of brokenness, you go down a dark path.
That's
all I
it.
can say.
That's what happened with me.
Eventually, you find the strength to get out of it.
Most definitely, man. So I started going out with these PUAs. They're weird. They're really weird. They're not good.
It's all a bunch of fucked up people.
The first ones I was going out with, I can't tell you how fucked up these guys were, dude. One of them was like a fucking brown guy who was like in his 30s. I'm a 22-year-old kid. He's like in an arranged marriage, right? He's got a wife, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes out and does PUA, and he doesn't hook up, he doesn't have sex, he doesn't exchange. He's doing it to build confidence because he's got anxiety, right? So you can say he never cheated,
so
ever.
I know he's not bad. That doesn't sound like a bad guy.
Whilst he wasn't a bad guy, he was trying to improve his social skills.
Like fix his social skills to have a better.
Only that.
Okay,
Only
so
that.
I don't see anything bad with him.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But the problem is, he also didn't know how to fucking close. He didn't know how to do anything. He didn't know how to do like nothing at all.
Is it an arranged marriage?
An arranged marriage. But he loved her. And they were happy. They had no problems, right? And he was very loyal. He would never do anything, and he had kids and everything, and he was happy. He was doing it because he hated social anxiety. He just hated it. And he's like,
what's his name?
His name, because he's got a family and all that. I'll give it the alias. Will say he had a pickup alias called the Jackal.
Respect Jackal.
Yeah, and he just wanted to help people like, overcome social anxiety, but the problem was, bro, like his social skills weren't there. He didn't know this shit, and I was the wrong person to learn from. So we were the blind leading the blind, bro.
Leading the blind. I mean, it happened to me too.
It's bad, right?
When you're broken, a bunch of broken people.
You attract
a bunch of
broken.
broken people, and if one broken person has an idea that's confident, sounds good, the whole fucking herd will follow.
That's it.
Like a bunch of clowns.
So we didn't know what we were doing, bro.
There's no leader when you're that desperate and that broken.
Yes, sir.
Like wake up for yourself.
We're going around doing indirect games. Excuse me, what's the time? Oh, by the way, you're cute. This fucking dumbass shit. Reading the game. reading the mystery method, right? Doing the most insane shit, like wearing the fucking peacocking clothes. Seriously, like going out
Can you
to
tell me where's the nearest Starbucks?
all that.
By the way, you're cute. Let me get your number.
Exactly, and they'd give it, and
I fucking hate having this conversation right now.
they never texted. It was cut fuck bullshit. Yeah, going out with all the peacocking suits and shit, and like the body posture, like approaching over the shoulder, the most weird shit you can imagine, right?
That peacocking shit, I remember. I wear the most retarded shit. I just didn't know any better, bro. I really didn't know any better. I was so fucking stupid. I would wear feather earrings, thinking, "Oh, maybe this will give me." I was just dumb. Broken.
Yeah. So that's going on. I'm learning game, right? Or at least I'm thinking I'm learning game. I'm learning mystery method, yeah. And I'm thinking that's going to save my ass. So think about it, right? The concepts. Basically, mystery method back then, what I was doing was learning that if you're just aloof, you just don't really want it too bad. You show you're non-needy.
Let me tell you a story.
That kind of shit. That kind of fucking BS, yeah. Basically walking around clubs, in university, like being all that distant, like not really caring, like speaking to them, like negging, bro, negging, all that. Like, you wouldn't know about that.
That's a common word now. Like
they know about
girls
that.
would like literally call you out and be like, "You trying to neg me?"
It's different now. It's different, yeah.
They're waking up to men being desperate.
But well, we lost our power, ain't we? We know. Back then, dude. This is before apps, before social media. There was Facebook, Instagram wasn't.
But there was more like a structure where men respect women, women respect men.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Barely any respect now.
Between both genders, it's different. There's so much toxicity now, right? But at this time, there wasn't that toxicity. So there was sweet girls, there was nice girls. Now, of course, the culture was still a bit changing. It was a bit changing, but needless to say, I thought that this type of mystery method shit was going to help me out. I thought it was going to basically allow me to get my first girlfriend. And my thinking was, well, I'll do this pickup artist crazy fucked up shit because I'm too fucked up to get laid properly. So I'll get some girlfriend. I'll make myself a normal dude and I'll move the fuck on. I don't want to be a player. I don't want to get fucking lays. I used to think it would be like, I used to be on these forums and I'd see guys with like 10 lays and I'd think, oh my fucking God, how do you do that? Like, literally, I would like see it and be like, how's that possible?
Well, the more mentally ill you get, the higher.
Yeah, well, yeah. I did that my first year. Well, anyway. So yeah, I mean, I literally, my mind was never to get a high notch count. Like, I never even considered it. I thought even a guy that's been with like 5 girls is like an unbelievable slayer.
A champion.
Yes, I was like, wow.
How'd you do that, bro?
5. I was a fucking naive boy, right? You know what I mean? So I'm learning game, yeah, and bro, like when I'm learning this stuff, I shit you not, like it was kind of healing because I could at least speak to people.
Yeah, it was for me too. It gave me hope, but remember, it destroyed the fuck out of your mindset.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
It does. No.
It comes at a price. That's what I've learned.
The thing about it is, right, I wasn't even in any type of real community. I was around no one getting results. None of these people were getting laid. It was just jokers running around trying to talk to people. So I feel like the game community that I was in at that point, bro, it was just honestly lost men trying to learn how to talk to people. So it wasn't really, I wouldn't describe it as toxic. They were just trying to.
I get it. Doesn't sound as bad back then.
They weren't even closing, bro, literally. Now it's just, now it'll kill your mind and body and soul and everything else. But at that time, dude, like the thing that was helpful, I was actually able to have normal conversations, right? Because I was able to actually sit and like talk to women and just listen and hear what she's got to say, right?
Probably felt like really elevating too.
Massive. That was like extremely transformative for me, right? And being able to like just be confident and spark some emotions and stuff, and seeing women wanting to listen to what I had to say.
Yeah, I felt saved.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Same feeling that you were feeling too.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like hope. And all of a sudden, I was like, it made me very ambitious because I learned this shit from the internet. I went online, I got new information in my brain, and now I'm doing things I couldn't fucking imagine I was doing. I'm only talking to girls, dude. I'm not doing something crazy. But again, it was so earth-shattering for me that after a lifetime of being told I'm ugly, after a lifetime of being told, you're Indian, you're disgusting, get away from us, after a lifetime of being basically having no hope whatsoever that any girl would ever talk to me. Now I'm able to talk to different girls, and I can't believe it's happening, right? I'm so happy that it made me awakened, and I realized I can learn information online. I can read books. I can take courses. I can get coaches and mentors, and I can be who I want to be. That's the effect it had on me. And that was very healthy, to be honest, until, you see, right now, right, my body composition isn't what I want it to be. I'd say I do store a lot of fat on my face. I'd say back then I was lean as fuck. Lean as fuck, like 12% body fat, right? Now I'm probably closer to 20. So I'm going to lean out, I'm going to get cut again, all the way, all the fucking way, right? When I was lean, I was actually quite handsome. When I was all the way lean, I actually had like sharp cheekbones. I can show you a picture.
Anyone that loses fat objectively, like,
yeah,
like a couple of points.
Let me actually show you.
Your face like changes.
I'm actually going to show you real quick because it's it's on my phone.
I've actually never seen your skinny you.
I
saw fat you.
Now's a great time to show you. Of course, like, I'm on my journey with, me and you working together on that. But I'd like to show you at this time when I'm in the clubs talking to girls what I look like. And, because D's never seen this before, he's going to see it for the first time. I'm not going to say, I'm like my brother. I really ain't got a handsome face. Like but this was okay for me. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely more handsome, younger.
Yeah,
looking.
Absolutely. So that back then was enough to attract some girls. There seriously was some. Despite how weird I was, despite all the rest, there was some who kind of liked me, right? So I remember one girl, after I lost all the weight over the summer, like I remember I was in a club and she knew me from the first year and she's like, Ravi, thank you so much for losing weight. You look so good now. Oh, wow. And these things, she said it herself. Okay. Right? So these things just gave me a little bit of confidence where I had no hope. And then the thing is, I'm like watching all these pickup content and just some of these people are, this is like the guerrilla era of pickup, dude. Like all the most dysfunctional men in society are all flocking to this shit. All the most rejected, socially awkward, weird men are now like flocking.
The darkest corners of the world.
Literally, dude. Now they're getting hope. But dude, there's so many different companies at this time. There was the big golden era of game, right? So there's companies all over the place. There's boot camps all over the place. All these crazy people doing crazy people things, right? It was the golden era of getting laid. Men had power back then. You could go on forums like RSD Nation, GLL, Good Looking Loser, and you could see lay reports every single day. There was no doxing. There was no like being fucking Me Too'd. Didn't exist. There was guys getting astronomical numbers of lays. There was guys running around getting elite results just by being like lean, having some confidence, and just running some basic game. Hi, how are you? Fucking literally.
Can't do that shit now.
I know. Now you just fucking unbelievable. But back then, bro, like there was, the level of hustle that it made me have in myself was like, all you have to do is go out and take action. Take action.
I believe that. That was like my fucking motto in my
take action. Take action. Take action. Yeah, but that's what that community, like being around, it got into me. If you get off your fucking ass and work like a motherfucker, you can get whatever you want in life.
I believe that mantra.
It's true. And that was the positive side of it. Okay. I didn't even look at these people who were getting laid and wanted to be like them. I just wanted a girlfriend. I don't give a shit. If I can learn a little bit, then I'll go build my businesses. I don't give a shit. But unfortunately, the whole pickup thing was a bit too toxic for me. Because what happened with me is, bro, like, as I kept putting on this fake persona and learning these tricks and tried to hack attraction, progressively I was losing myself. And basically I was such a mess, the pickup stuff wasn't helping me. I'll keep it real with you. That shit didn't do it.
No, so I understand. Like, for me, it just made me lost my identity. And I became just like I lost my soul in the process.
Yeah.
Because you become so jaded and destroyed.
Yeah, because what's so sick about the whole pickup thing is like, if you have to like create a person who ain't really you, you're living a lie. Mm-hmm. You're living a lie. And the childhood needs that I had to be seen, to be heard, to be in a community, I never got them met. So all this did was it made me disconnected. And I couldn't close and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't have intimacy. I was a fake person. So I remember one night I'm lean. I'm going to the clubs 4 times a week. I'm like a little bit more confident. I've got no game really. I've got no real nothing, but I'm at least approaching, and I'm at least stoic. And the game back then, you didn't need much. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, it's a numbers thing.
That was it. You know, it was not that bad back then, before apps. So I remember that really pretty girl was dancing with me one time, and I couldn't do shit.
You like scared, nervous?
Bro, I was just dead inside. Dead, nothing. Felt nothing. Nothing in me was working.
What did you do after you felt that feeling?
At this point, dude, I knew whatever problem I've got, it's not a pickup artist problem. It's something within me that needs to be resolved. Nothing external, be it tricks, be it tools, tactics, that ain't gonna do it. Wanna know why? As I'm in this club with this really pretty girl grabbing my ass, and I'm just looking at her, and nothing in my body's working. Nothing. I realized I'm done with this shit. I went home the next day, the book, the game, and the mystery method, burned them, chucked them in the bin. I knew I was kidding myself.
So you realized like you were losing yourself in the process and it's not worth it. Okay.
Bro, I watched these, as I light these things on fire in the garden in my little student accommodation, I watched the pages of this fucking book like curling like dying spiders, right? And I realized like I can't feel, I'm not human. I'm speaking to people, I'm doing this shit, but it's not real. And they know, and I know, and nothing is working. Because I'm not in touch with my core. I lost my core essence. When a man has lost his core, it's just words. It's just, there's no root, there's no center, there's no connection.
Like a big void. It's
exactly.
Like
that wall it was. And you can't live like that. So after that point, dude, I decided I'm going to find a way to fix this. That created a really strange era for me where I was doing a lot of like drugs. I was like smoking a little bit of weed. I was doing like MDMA. I was going to raves. I was trying to learn like radical honesty. I was getting into these like hippie-ish kind of spiritual ideas. I wanted to belong. I wanted to belong to a community, which is really what I was looking for. So I tried to fit into the techno and rave community. And, you know, the reality of the situation was at that point, I was just like a shell of a human, to be quite honest. You know, have you ever seen the movie Fight Club?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So at a certain point, right, Edward Norton's character starts to believe his own bullshit and his own delusion. And he's no longer in the normal world. He's kind of in the Fight Club world, right? Where he thinks he's in this fucking cult and he's in this group and they're the real men, right? And the rest of these men are just cucked, right? But he's his own dream, his own fantasy.
Yeah, he's in his own little matrix.
Yes, literally at 21, and I'm trying to, I indoctrinated my mind with all these pickup concepts. So when I was walking around, literally, dude, I was like obsessed with my posture, obsessed with trying to act a certain.
It just activated a certain mode in you.
And I was gone. Like it took me over.
You became robotic, I guess.
100% robotic.
So,
yeah.
I had that feeling too.
So I'd say I was the human.
Like trained yourself in such a way it just responds to a system.
Yep. And when a girl would say something, I'd always act the same way. It's like, oh, it's fake. So I was the human equivalent of wallpaper paste. Just like delusion, desperation, fake confidence, right? Scripted lines. I wasn't feeling anymore. There was no curiosity. There was no real connection. I didn't even want to speak to people anymore, right? And yeah, fair enough, I wasn't panicking and vomiting before house parties, but the shit I was doing, like the weird shit, like I was gone, dude. And it was the point I realized that you can fake it till you make it and try and learn pickup artist type of shit. But the problem is that you'll make it work until you forget which part of it was actually fake and which part of it was you.
Which was fake? Who are you? What's going on?
That's what happened. Right. So I tried to fix this. I was going out, I was doing drugs, I was trying to like experiment and explore and find some feeling. And I remember the guy I was telling you about, Jackal, right? Fucking PUA guy, trainer, whatever. He encouraged me to like develop myself and ask a girl out and have the balls to do it. I asked a girl out in my political science class, and like this girl, definitely I'd say wasn't my market. I'd say she's kind of like a kind of vegan, kind of very into. She had like braids, Doc Martens, feminist. I mean, very different from the kind of girl I'd like, right?
Looking for trouble.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say pretty much. I was asking for it, right? But she was smart and she was like kind of interesting. And you know, I'm a fucking nerd at this point, so I thought, yeah, I'll be having conversations with her. It'll be fun. So I asked her out, and she let me know she's actually queer. And that meant that it was a no for my offer for coffee and a no to any dick in general because she didn't swing that way. And I realized that, dude, like, I'm clueless. I really don't. I'm not even human. I'm not connected to any of this shit. Like, I'm immature. And I remember how proud I was after I asked her out because I've never done something like that before. I celebrated with a coffee. And though she said no, I felt for the first time a sense of victory, a sense of I actually tried.
Yeah, you did something.
Yeah. So victory for me for that particular moment in my desperate life was a chicken Caesar wrap, salt and vinegar crisps, and a sugar-free Red Bull. And
chicken and rice halal.
Yeah, exactly. Because I realized that rejection didn't kill me. It's just going to make me more fun and more of a human being. So at that point, dude, I started to actually shift myself, you know, began to just talk to more people, began to be more open and vulnerable.
So you went now in an upward spiral.
I dropped all the POA, dude, literally.
Okay.
Dropped it all, okay? And started doing like yoga, breath work, became the Buddha, literally, like, got super spiritual, reading Eckhart Tolle, all this type of shit, tried to like heal myself, you know what I'm saying? Because all the pickup artist stuff, I was accumulating some real wounds, right? By like the rejections, like the social incompetence, and things are getting a bit better. After a few months of this lifestyle, I will say, there were some twists and turns in this story. After like a few months of partying, drugs, guess what? When you've got a lifetime of bad mental health, you don't need to be doing drugs. When you've got a lifetime of stress, brain inflammation, all sorts of dysfunction, you know how some people just respond differently to drugs? You must have had friends who, like, you know, one guy smokes weed, don't give a shit. Other guy smokes weed, he's
quiet, paranoid, different types.
Exactly. Paranoid out of the ass, right? So that's a guy that really shouldn't be doing this shit, but did I know? No. So the combination of weed, limited sleep, MDMA, social circle of new type of people I started meeting who were just like hipster kind of druggy type of people who were like interested in alternative ideas and all that sort of shit, which was helping me heal. Unfortunately, all the mental health challenges I've had all my life came to a heel. And I actually had something called a psychotic episode. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Okay. So after like a day of going out to a rave and smoking and doing MDMA, I'd only been doing drugs for 2 months. So it's like less than 15, 20 times ever. So I'm not saying I was some sort of like fucking massive partier. I was a mental cell trying to fix himself by doing some experimenting with drugs, right? And basically I had a psychotic episode one day where my mind slipped. It became very paranoid and delusional. And I started sending like crazy sounding emails to my lecturers and stuff. And before I knew it, they referred me to the crisis intervention team, and my brown ass was kicked out of university to heal myself for a year.
Damn,
So
they kicked you out.
No, in fact, they put me into like
medical leave or something?
Yes, like that, medical leave for a year. So think about how crazy this is, dude. Like, I did all these things to help me. I did powerlifting to help me. It made me like even more depressed. I went to that job when I was working in that shitty retail job to help me. I ended up more fucked up. I went to this pickup artist stuff and I did these drugs to kind of help myself. Every time I tried to help myself, it made me 100 times worse. Fucked up time. Yeah, 100 times worse. So at this point, dude, the crisis intervention team comes together. You know, I'm fucking babbling. I'm fucking crazy. I think there's people trying to find me, conspiracies, all that, losing my mind, right? I literally became so mentally ill. And this guy who comes into my life in the intervention team, his name's Alexander Cross. He's an absolute angel. He reassures me. He helps me develop a healing plan. He takes me out for a year to like heal myself. And I go back to my parents again, square one again. dosed up on antipsychotics, under doctor's orders just to recover for a year. And, everyone's assuring me it's not going to affect my degree. I'm going to heal, I'm going to recover, I'll come back and complete it. But when I get back to my parents, dude, for that month, it's the deepest soul pain I've ever had in my life. Every aspect of my life at this point.
You're like reflecting. Just
yes. It hits me this month.
Right.
All the rejections, all the I just wanted to find my first girlfriend.
It's not like you're thinking about it, you're not taking the action anymore.
I wanted to find a girlfriend, that was all. And I've basically put myself in the position where I've destroyed my entire being in the process, right? Laying there in complete agony, battling severe mental illness. The pain, I can tell you, was the most howling, lacerating pain of my life, as I'm now getting more traumatized than ever. And I slip into this fog in my mind where no matter what I do, I just end up back in hell again. I tried to do powerlifting to improve myself. I had an awful injury. I tried to meet a girlfriend. I kept getting brutal rejections, and I ended up getting loads of negative feedback and spiraling. Everything I tried to do socially, physically, mentally, emotionally, I ended up way worse, in endless pain.
Why would you say it ended up way worse? Just because of your headspace sinking again?
It always ended up way worse because my headspace, and it was never healthy to begin with. And when you're such a fucked up guy and you're doing these things and you're not addressing your real problems, you're asking for more pain, dude.
Heads on top of each other.
Pretty much. So, look, I'm spiraling at this point, and I'm in such deep soul pain that at this point, what I do is I embrace spirituality, getting connected to God again, right? So I'm reading about religion, start meditating, get into yoga, practice forgiveness. Over the course of many months, the pain does shift. Over the course of many months, my mental illness recovers.
You were going to like the temples and stuff?
Everything, dude. Literally, seriously.
That's good.
Super hardcore, dude. Like hours a day, meditation, prayer. Hours a day, forgiveness practice. Literally, like sitting there in meditation, all that, like, it really reduced my trauma levels, and it really healed me a lot. And in this period of my life, I'd say there was just a hole in my soul, a void, where I just spent time recovering and letting go of my desires and letting go of my wants. And I just wanted peace. And I did have peace during this time. Really, I did. So I went back to university after that year. I completed my degree. Everything was good. I stopped using the drugs, as in the medications, right? I stopped using them. Those medications made me gain a lot of weight. So I was lean, as I showed you. After using the medications, I gained a lot of weight. Within 2 weeks of stopping all the drugs, antipsychotics, antidepressants, I had, unfortunately, a case of rebound extreme anxiety.
So it just hit you back again?
Yes. But this time, dude, it's not just the level of anxiety I had before. This is the worst anxiety of my life. So now, I finished my degree, I'm in the world, and I'm now an agoraphobic. Do you know what agoraphobia is?
Explain it to me.
Agoraphobia is a condition where you literally can't leave a room.
Okay, damn.
So the level of anxiety I had, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think, I couldn't even leave a room. I was done. I was fucking done and dusted, right? Unbelievable life so far, as you can imagine, right? Shocking. However, this is where this entire story changes, and you're now going to recognize the person you're speaking to.
The secret sauce?
Yes, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. All my life I had anxiety, right? But I didn't know it was anxiety because I was born with it. All my life I had mental illness, right? I didn't know what it was because that's all I ever knew. All my life I had no confidence. All my life I had low self-esteem, right? But I had no fucking idea because I was living with it. When I had extreme agoraphobia, because I couldn't leave my house anymore, it forced me to confront my inner issues. I never did that until this time. I'm 24 at this time. Now you're going to see the person who you know as Ravi. I built this person in this moment. When I had 10 panic attacks a day, social anxiety, social phobias, obsessions, compulsions, couldn't sleep. Everything in my body just locked the fuck down and I was dying,
Where
dude.
was your parents?
I was living with them at this time, dude. I was 24, right? I finished my university because I had to take extra time to recover for it, yeah?
Was your dad still like on his?
Yeah, a workaholic.
Just out the picture?
Yeah, just workaholic on his business,
Okay.
right?
Your mom?
Sweetheart, she don't know what's going on.
She didn't know. Okay. It was just
She
a lot of
don't know.
pressure. Okay,
She
got
don't know, dude.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I'm just there. I'm like, okay, I have to find a way to change. Otherwise, I'm done. So here's what happened. I'd spent all these years researching wellness, researching how to change. But I didn't know I had all these underlying traumas and anxieties. For the first time in my life, I was like, okay, motherfucker. I can't tell you how angry I was, D. I can't tell you how angry I was. Think about it. This wasn't fair what happened to me in my life. I had no opportunity to live a normal life. All my life, anxiety, mental health. No one pointed it out. No one said he's got mental health problems. The fucking teachers in school didn't give a shit. No one around me knew. The ways I tried to fix myself were inappropriate. That's not how you do it. Why do I feel so strongly passionate to create CMU? To save people from the fucking shit I had to go through. Because I didn't have better information.
Yeah, that's the thing. Without the right resources, you're just lost.
Yeah, but that's why I'm doing this. Because this means more to me than anything else in the world. Because if I had this, it would have saved me a lot of fucking pain. So, I was angry. I was like, motherfucker, I've been let down. This ends today. This ends. I remembered when I was in university, I was trying to learn game, but I had anxiety. I wasn't fully aware I had an anxiety disorder. If you would have asked me back then, I'd say you're crazy. Of course I had them. They were just at lower levels. But when it was agoraphobic and so extreme, I couldn't deny it anymore. I was like, motherfucker, Ravi, you ain't well. Yeah, you ain't well. So I knew. So at that point, I remember when I was in uni, I was researching this thing. I'm not going to say what it is, but it was a method of recovering from anxiety. And people were getting results with it. You know how people sometimes, certainly in our fucking communities, when you charge for something, they call you a grifter. Dickheads. Dickheads. When something is free, it's because it's not delivered with a level of intensity and professionalism that's required. When something is paid for and it's got proven track record and results and it's scientific, it's because it's a serious developmental program.
Yeah, it's a premium.
Life is premium. If you want a free life, then you can be cucked.
But yeah, you know how this is in the community.
But this, I'm going to tell you why. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm going to tell you how this fucked me. So, the information on how to recover from these conditions cost $110, and I could have done it when I was like 20, before all this shit. Now I'm 24, 4 years later, I just went about it without. I thought, oh fuck it, I'll take medications, I'll do this shit, I'll just go out. Because I didn't have the right information, I was internally fucked. Now I'm 100 times worse than I've ever been. But I remembered that stuff back in the day. You know what put me off back in the day? I was so close to buying that information. You know what put me off? I went on a forum and it said, no, why would you spend $110 to learn how to recover and heal your inner issues? Think about it this way. If this company actually had a way to help you heal from your inner issues and heal from your anxiety, then don't you think doctors would be teaching it? Don't you think the NHS in England would be teaching it? Don't you think governments would be recommending it if they were so good? Right? Be skeptical. Just cope with it. There's no way to recover from anxiety. All you can do is cope. And I believed it. And then it ended me up basically incapacitated. Because I saw a post on the internet that said this company was a grifter. At this point, I was so desperate. I was like, motherfucker, I can't even live my life anymore. I can't leave the room. So I went online. I bought it. Okay? That shit taught me about brain conditioning. That shit taught me about operant conditioning. That taught me how kids get fucked up. It taught me how you develop conditions like this. It taught me when you're in an unsafe environment, you get triggered and you develop a whole pattern of avoidance. And you subconsciously set up your life as a small child to protect yourself. I had that best friend back in school, right? To try and keep away. I was avoiding everything in life.
Sounds like a revelation.
You kind of like a safety person,
Yeah.
like that kind of
It looks
situation.
like it was a good method. That was kind of like a godsend to
Oh yeah, it was a revelation to get that fucking information. Yes,
change your life.
dude, that I'm telling you, I spent $110. I'm watching. I'm fucking crying. Everything makes sense now. I wasn't fucked up. I wasn't some sort of God's mistake. I had anxiety disorders. I had nervous system dysregulation issues. When I found that out, dude, it was like
Pretty
a.
sure you cried, right?
You couldn't believe. You can't fucking
'Cause
count
like
the
a
tears.
big weight just
Yes.
off your shoulders.
Yes.
Felt a little bit of,
When I
the
got
the chains of society and life
fucking
breaking.
unbound me, because when it finally hit me, you've just had inner struggles, yeah. At that point, dude, within at that point in my life, I've been There's times I was smart and I could work hard, like I told you when I was like early, about 15, 16, and I'd fall off and I'd procrastinate. When this finally hit me, dude, I basically just became a monster. As in, I tell you seriously, when I got the right information, I implemented it, and I became a person obsessed with change, obsessed with success, fucking warrior mode. Because I lay there crying, saying, Ravi, what if you, at this point, 300-pound, anxiety-ridden, mentally ill virgin, what if a motherfucker like you could make it? What if you could go out again and get successful women? What if you could rise from this fucking hell?
Become a legend.
Yeah. What would it say about me? That thought, if I could get out of this fucking hell and show people it's possible, then I'm a motherfucking legend. So, 24, I put my structure together. For 2 years, I'm working 16 hours a day. I don't take one day off. I'm possessed.
You got your black mamba on.
Dude, I can say to you, that version of me that existed, you can't stop people like that.
So that's when you make something happen, when you enter just that state of relentless.
Yeah, it was that.
Relentless truth.
It was wake up like a bolt like this at 6 a.m., work. 2 hours on breath work, 2 hours on yoga, 2 hours studying business, 2 hours studying this, 2 hours studying that, 2 hours playing guitar, 2 hours. I learned this information to change my brain. Structure, do. Change your brain, expand. For the first few months, can't leave the room, now I can leave the room. Then I can go further. I can get out of the house. I can start driving my car. I can go to different cities. I can make friends. Got some base. I was so fucked up. It took months of this hustle to change. Then I get a job. Then I get upgraded to a new job. Then I get a new job. Then I get a new job. And then I'm losing weight. And bro, I become a machine. I'll get one from 300 odd pounds. I'm losing weight. I built a guy that didn't exist. Where there was a broken man, I became a fucking relentless warrior. I went from being that fucked up, that destroyed at the age of 24 to not. A few years later, in a senior project management role, only 2 positions down from the CEO, managing 50 staff, earning great money, with the world at my feet. I went from that fucking destroyed person. I made myself say, I'm going to find the best business mentor I can. Found Vin, right? And he taught me everything I need to know, right? And at 29, right? At 29, things really started to shape up. I'll get back into that, but it's like so many aspects of this journey, dude. I want to give honor and credit to. When I started to like get more well through doing the structure and the regulation work, dude. Now, all this stuff that we know, we created CMU, right? It's a brotherhood. It's a container.
Right,
exactly. It's the best shit. It's the best shit. Now I can help people, and now I can get them to success. It's the best program, realistically, that we're gonna take over. And when people are in it, they got everything, because I've already been through everything, and everything that I've created is to get anyone what they're looking for. So all this pain I went through in my life, I used it for good. So, I'm proof that you can be down and out 24. Then I got this shitty job in a call center, literally, right? But I met one of my best friends that time, David, who he started traveling with me. He started going festivals with me. He started we go everywhere together. So, you know, I'm changing and I'm signaling to my mind, no, Ravi, you're not broken. You can win. And I'm really hustling, right? And I'm improving my baseline. My fear's going down and I'm having more experience. I'm going out, you know. So I leave that call center job. That guy, David, he's a human being I sincerely love. He's the most non-judgmental, great dude. Finally had a real relationship after so many years of loneliness. I confided everything in him. You know, he didn't judge me. He didn't give a fuck. You know, we lived life to the fullest for many years. Just every weekend, endless adventures, endless travel. He was like me. He didn't have a girlfriend. He didn't have him. He just wanted to live, right? So we went around the world. We traveled.
You related very well.
Very well, bro. Yeah, he was like that too, to be honest with you, in cell background.
Okay.
Yeah, bro. But, you know, but dude, I had awakened my warrior spirit. At this point, you can't stop people when they get like this, dude. I was like, motherfucker, I'm gonna make it. So after a few months in that shitty call center, then I got an assistant job in like some laboratory, right? Even though I had a great degree from a great school, and all my friends were working in investment banking for these big companies and making massive amounts of money, but I fucked myself up back then, right? So I couldn't be like that anymore. I couldn't just go on that track. I basically was like back from nothing. So I got this job in a lab, you know, and then after that, I got this job like as a project assistant in a university, right?
From call center to the lab.
To the lab. Then I started working in higher education universities as a project assistant. And when I did that, right, by then, dude, I'd been doing this structure for many years and I had my ability and talent coming back. And what it is was someone in that job, when I started working in the university, believed in me. She saw talent in me. She saw us different. She was a senior CEO, very incredible woman who had done incredible work in England, who'd been given an MBE from the Queen for services to regenerating parts of Britain's economy. She was an incredible high achieving woman, right? So yeah, she was an incredible person. And I had a role as an assistant for her. So I'd just do basic tasks for basic shit, right? Bringing her tea, helping her with some emails, some shit like that, right? But she got to know me. So she was an Indian lady, right, from a similar background to me, Punjabi, right? So tell me about yourself. Tell me about your family. I tell her, where do you go to university, Ravi? I went to the same school she did. Oh, you went there too? Okay, Ravi, how come you're not working in London? Why don't you do, what's going on with you, Ravi? I just lied. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say her name because she's still a mentor. I just wanted to serve people. I just want to serve the community. So I never really went down that road. She knew I was lying, but she didn't say it. She knew something was.
Right.
She knew something went wrong in my life.
You didn't want to tell her.
I didn't want to tell her the truth, but she knew. Given my age, 26, right? Even though my record was good, and then there's 5-year gap, so she knew something happened, right? But she didn't. She saw bro, my work ethic was this animal. I was there to have this shit job. I was there like bright and early, first thing in the morning, immaculately dressed, doing the job like a machine with perfection. Unbelievable hustle. She's saying, Ravi, I think there's more I can do with you. I think, would you like to have this role as running one of these little projects? She gave me an opportunity. Absolutely, yes. As soon as she gave me a lifeline, I went all in. So, I smashed that role. I'm just perfectionist. Every day, can you give me more work? How else can I help you? How else can I do this? I'm invaluable to her. I'm so loyal. She's like, okay, Ravi, you can do more with your life. You know that? I'm going to give you a full-time job as this, so I get a great opportunity, right? It's a start. It's still, shit money. It's still like early. But she's teaching me. She's teaching me how to be a project manager. So she's grooming me, essentially, in terms of how to have a good, actual, like, high-earning career, right? So I don't know none of this shit. She's teaching me, well, Ravi, this is how you do meetings. This is how you facilitate. I never knew this. Ravi, this is... Exactly. This is how you manage staff. This is how you build projects. This is how you do project plans. This is how you how you work with... She taught me all the professional skills that I didn't have. She taught me them. and she mentored me for multiple years, and then basically I did my whole career under her. So my entire project management career. First, she gave me my first promotion from project assistant to project coordinator, and she gave me more responsibility. I was always good. And then she gave me my first proper project manager role and did a really good job. And then, she left that university. She went elsewhere. And when she'd go elsewhere, she'd just hire me again. Right. And she kept giving me more and more and more. And I never let her down. And I was ridiculously loyal. I'd go above and beyond. Like, I'd work any hour you want. You could text me in the email. In the weekends, I'd do it.
How many years were you at that company?
A couple of years, about 5. Yeah. Really worked my ass off, right? And then towards the end, bro, when I was like, I got about 50 staff, right? I've really changed at this point. I've really got my head together in terms of how to build things, right? How to, really implement things, how to run groups, all this shit. At this point, dude, I'm 29, 3 weeks before my 30th birthday, and I realize I've got so much of my life together now. For the first time, I'm stable. I've got savings. I've got skills. I've got qualifications. I'm going to be okay. I'm a proven project manager. This industry's got good money in it. I can go make good money now, right? However, guess what happens? 3 weeks before my 30th birthday, I realize, Ravi, you're going to be 30, you're a virgin. I sit at my computer that day in the morning, I fucking projectile vomit. I just leave.
From the stress and anxiety?
Yeah, my head's spinning, dude.
Just okay.
My head's spinning, and I realize I'm not going to make it. I'm lying to myself. I've done all these external things. I've got this external value. Now I've got my car. I've got this shit. But I'm not where I want to be. I'm lonely.
Internally, you felt something.
Exactly.
Okay.
I've never had a date. I've never had a good relationship. I've never had nothing. Virgin. Nothing. At that point, my breaking point was surpassed. I couldn't hold it anymore. I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I couldn't just go to work again without confronting my real issues. I remembered the first time I did game and pick up, it almost killed me. It almost took me to destruction. I had to stay off uni for a year on medication because I fucked myself up. But I knew part of my life was unresolved. Something wasn't handled.
Can't run away from it
You
forever.
can't. You can't.
All of us. I mean, you see me, like, with how many clients I have, they'll make, like, anywhere between 200 to 800K.
Yeah.
Look good. As I said, all the time when I rant, you look good on the resume, but internally you're fucking broken, and then you think these external factors will save you, but in return, you can't get a relationship to save your life because you're just broken on the inside.
That's exactly what was happening with me. Mm-hmm. Because I was avoiding. And every time I'd see couples together, I'd fucking die inside. Always. I'd have trauma responses. So what I did at this point, dude, was pretty much threw all caution to the wind and said, I don't know how I'm going to make this. I ain't got a fucking clue. All I know is either I will find a way to lose my virginity or I will fucking die trying. Die trying. I will not quit. There's got to be someone in this world who can help me do it. I went to my first coach, which is Andy. Love Andy. We both love Andy. He's one of our friends, right? He's one of the bros. Yeah, genuinely one of me and Dee's friends, right? So shout out to him. He's kind. He always gives us a platform to go on his channel, and he's a genuine friend to me and Dee as well. So we talk a lot. Andy helps me a lot because he listens. Andy and Cam push me to get out of that place I was living and move to London. Andy and Cam push me to start using online dating, to start approaching. I'm a mess. I've got all sorts of bad social skills. I've got all sorts of issues, but they're there for me. They have my back. They help me, right? I go all in, relentless. I created a project for myself, which I called the Phoenix Project, right? Which was from nothing to something, right? Outworking God's plan. Yeah. All this shit, all the trauma, years of my life when I was fucking living in university with a bunch of guys, like honestly, it was like 3 or 4 white dudes having endless sex, endless rotations, closing minorities and my sisters and all this sort of shit while I'm there.
Sorry not to laugh.
Nah, brother,
It's a joke at this.
it is. It's a joke now. It's a joke.
Fucking real it is.
It was real back then, bro,
Still real is real.
and it's real now. And I'm there, sexless my whole time, crying, bro. Like I can't do anything. I'm just the grit and drive I had in these years of my life, bro. It was thermonuclear. I could walk through walls. A motherfucking incel till 30. That's brutal, bro. That's brutal. But what I had inside was something way, way, way stronger.
Hey, one thing I admire about you is your willingness to get up and fight.
Yeah, warrior spirit.
You'll get knocked the fuck down, but you'll get back up.
Motherfucker, I don't care. I didn't care. You know, I didn't have good game mentoring. I didn't have social skills mentoring, right? I didn't have a guy of your level to help me learn how to properly talk to people, right? Andy did his best for me. But, bro, Zoom calls, when I've got all these things I can't open up about, Andy's great. I love him. I respect him. He did a lot for me. But the things I needed to talk about was the racism I experienced.
Yeah, the dark side of what's going on.
All the real problems I had, what was going on inside, but I never felt comfortable and safe to open up. And it wasn't because of him, but it was because of a multitude of factors that I just wasn't ready. So, you know, with Andy, I did a lot, achieved a lot, no doubt. And I was getting loads of things. Another great guy, right? Pancakes, that's helping me a lot. Did a lot for me, assisted me. And then ultimately, right, through that year of London, I'm beating my excuses. I'm getting lays on apps, right? I'm getting a lot of ghosting, dude. And I'm just shocked. I mean, I didn't know anything about girls, but I couldn't believe they all ghost. Like, what's going on?
That's what happened to me. I remember
Yeah.
when I had my first few ghosts, I cried. I'm like, I'm a fucking, what am I, ugly?
Yeah.
Piles and piles and piles up on you.
That was what was happening with me. I couldn't believe it. And I was seeing, honestly, my white friends and stuff were getting retention. I was like, what the fuck? What's happening? I didn't get it. Right? So, like, I'm confused, bro. And I'm in the coaching groups. They're helping me. They're being great. I am moving forward. I'm hustling like a motherfucker. I'm getting my goals done. I'm approaching out the ass. Like, I had so bad approach anxiety. I'd go out 4 or 5 hours a day. For like 9 months, I couldn't talk to one person. But no, I talked to one person a day. One.
9 months?
For one person a day. One. Yeah, for one.
That happened to me too. When I used to first go out, and for like a couple of hours, I could only talk to 1 or 2 people.
That's what I had.
I was just so messed up in the head.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Scared, and I was my own worst enemy.
Yeah, I had 9 months of that, right? But the mentality I had was what was interesting. What separated me from the guys who don't make it was there was no option to quit. There was no option to not get my goal. There was no option to not become a legend. There was none. There was none. For 9 months in London, approaching every day, getting my fucking head kicked in, the way they would look at me, the way they would like just feel disgust, the way I was anxious and weird, and like the negative feedback I had that first year of this game, dude, they took me to the darkest places you can imagine, right? But not for a second did I quit. Not for a...
Did you ever have like a moment of happiness or like a genuine connection?
Bro, abso-fucking-lutely I did. There was occasionally, dude, like it happened once. I got like a good friends with benefits who stayed with me for like 2-3 months. I learned there's kind of people in this world. I learned there's some people who look past.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Her name, dude, I'll just say her name was C. Mm-hmm. So with C, dude, she was different. London, like New York, is very hypergamous. It's a big city where, you know, they're basically trying to find their child.
The best.
Of course, right? Their child or their tyrant or whatever you want to say. So I'm there, I'm a minority, my value isn't good there. I have not got frame there, but I'm a dog, I'm a fighter, and I'm making it happen. I'm closing, I'm getting some results and outcomes, but I'm getting a lot of ghosts, and you know, quality isn't what I want, and it's superficial type of reality. So, but it's exciting. It's my first year. I'm fucking flying. I'm loving it. Eventually, I meet this girl who helps me heal. Her name's C, we'll say. She just moved to London, so she hadn't really been indoctrinated by the culture yet.
Yeah, she hasn't been brainwashed yet.
And she was from a small village, so she'd only had one boyfriend before. I'd say when you're fucked up, you attract fucked up. I was still far from healed. I was attracting people who are at the same level of trauma than me, really. So we bonded. She was just sweet. I was the first guy she ever went on a date with from online apps. She was a darling, sweet person. It helped me see, after all the shit experiences I had with women my whole life,
They're good people out there.
there's some good people. They're hard to find, but there's some who are good. But people have to be taught the shit of racism, of like looking down on people, of like being obsessed with looks. Like people have to become like that. In their core, there's good people, but you have to find them. She helped me heal a bit more, bro, and I'm grateful for her. Now, of course, she had her own mental illness. Yeah, appreciate her, man. She had her own mental problems. After a few months where her anxiety went up, she was going through career instability. She stopped seeing me, but we parted on good terms. Always we did. So, man, I'd say, you know, that was going on. And it took 9 months to get over the approach anxiety. The first, like, my day game journey has been really hard, as you know, right? It's been difficult for me, but I've been improving. Even to get my first match online was 6 months of new photos. You know what I mean? Like the determination and toughness it took to get any results at all, bro. It's going to be incomprehensible to most people. To get anything at all coming from the hell I came, it's going to be incomprehensible. It was like tons of weight loss. It was like photo shoot after, it took about 10.
You have to go to the extreme lengths.
Yeah.
Just most people quit if it's that extreme to get a result.
But I remember when I finally joined Andy's program and I got all my shit and I packed it in my car and I drove to my new apartment in Battersea where I moved in with an amazing guy from the forums called Timmy Turner, my Nigerian brother, love him. When I finally settled into that apartment, I cried that entire journey, right? Because I knew I'm truly on a mission now to change myself from the hell I came. And that's the beautiful thing about self-improvement. Because the opportunities it gave me, for the first few months of living in that apartment with Timmy, dude, my stress level, I'd say, is 13 out of 10. I took 10 years off approaching. I wasn't doing this shit. I could barely sleep, but bro, my nervous system just about kept it together, and I white knuckled it through all of that year. And dude, when I lost my virginity, I can tell you, I lost it after a few months. It was a level of like peace I didn't know existed.
Let's get into that. So
Sure.
How did you lose your virginity? Was it a date or what exactly?
So when I finally lost it, I got a match on Bumble. And there was this girl, she was actually from Denmark. So she wasn't from England.
So she was visiting?
She moved there.
Okay.
A lot of my dating in London, it wasn't native English people, right? I've never attracted them. It was mostly people who came from overseas.
It wasn't like indoctrinated.
Exactly, from different cultures, right?
Open-minded,
Exactly, more open-minded, right? So she was from Denmark. She was a bigger gal, right? So you know what I mean by that, right? But I wasn't picky. I didn't have standards like that. But she was sweet and she was kind. I went on a date with her. It was fun. It was chill. She could see I was so beta, such a nice guy, that she kind of had to take the lead, right? There was no masculinity to me. There was no social skills. I was a soft boy. So she pitched the second date. And we go. And it was a great time. We went to a museum. Fucking Natural History Museum in London, right? And then we go on a third date together. And there's no sexuality. I've not done anything. It's like whatever, right? I'm kissing her a bit and getting blue balls, but there's nothing sexual. So on the fourth date, she texted me before saying, Ravi, I've got some lingerie. I'd like you to help me put it on and try it out at my place. Would you like to do that? I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, but I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to get laid. I didn't know.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
So
And
you actually thought you were just gonna.
yes.
Oh my god.
And she's like, okay, Ravi, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on a date. I'm gonna take you to a Danish bakery, and then I'm gonna take you to my place. And if you're open to it, if you're not uncomfortable, I'd like you to help me try on this lingerie. Would you like to come to my place, Ravi? I was like, yeah, I'll come to your place. I didn't have a fucking clue. 4 dates, she had to pull me.
She fucks you.
She did, bro. She did. This is how beta I was. I had no.
Tired of it. She's like, this man ain't making no moves.
Literally, bless her. After 4, so on the 4th
I
day,
gotta fuck his giant ass.
she did, bless her. So you know, when it's happening, I just couldn't believe it. Like, you know, even when she like took me to her house, I still didn't think we were gonna get laid. And then, dude, she starts taking off her clothes, and I know, okay, it's gonna happen, right? So I put my condom on, make it happen. It was magical. Like that first one was so magical. It was like all of a sudden, everything in life was worth it. All the suffering, all the struggle for all these months, I had hope. Because you know what I realized? No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard I have to work, eventually I will find someone.
That's the mindset everybody should have.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So from there, dude, you know, I had a lot of different challenges. I had a period of time where I was under this group where I had literally 50 dates where I didn't convert, right? 50 to nowhere, right? And I'm just losing my mind because I've got no social skills, no game.
There's just like a level of like cynicalism that just
Yeah,
happens.
it starts happening. It's like, well,
Jadedness to like fuck women, fuck everything.
yes. I had like 50 dates in a row where I got a text, sorry, Ravi, you're a nice guy, but I didn't feel any connection, right? And dude, I didn't know. I wasn't game aware. I didn't know anything about masculine game. I didn't know what's fucking happening. And, you know, a lot of the guys on the program with Andy, like they weren't as bad as I was. And it wasn't even like I was going to the course with Andy half the time. I wasn't. So he couldn't even, I was so closed off, dude, that it was hard to help me. And I didn't know what I didn't know because I was such an unusual man. That it was a case that these guys hadn't really seen. They really cared. They loved me to death. Everyone helped me. Everyone tried their best. But, bro, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I couldn't even ask the right questions. I was clueless. Because, frankly, when you've got these kind of problems, you need a method. You need a real, proper, rigorous method. And he didn't know that. I do not judge him for that. Because that's not his specialism, right? His approach is very different. But it was your specialism. Which is why, you know, we eventually hook up and... finally I fixed this shit. But anyway, dude, that these things keep happening. So, you know, this is where you come in, right? This is where you come into my story. So, bro, like I hustle in London, you know, I do all sorts of shit. I become a different man. Like Andy's doing some good shit with me. I'm doing some good shit. The community, the forum's doing some good shit. I'm becoming such a hustler. I'm becoming limitless. You know, through a lot of hustle, I meet Vin. You know, I start to learn about business. I learn about brand building. Like through a lot of hustle, I start to finally meet some real winners or making some real money. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to make it. I'm going to go become an entrepreneur. I'm going to go live on the beach. I'm going to do all this shit. Yeah, I become this fucking animal of hustling. And yeah, I'm making content. I'm doing all this shit and I'm different now. And I'm getting laid.
This
and I'm
is
like,
when you were doing your accountability business.
yes, back then, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, you know, all the hustle I'm doing, like my mentor from project management, she gives me like a remote work role so I can live in London and I can do a couple hours of work here, then go approach 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm just pushing my shit, right?
So you had some foundation down.
100%. Okay. So then at a certain point, dude, I keep having these types of problems, right? In terms of like, you know, fucking social skills. You know, there's another amazing guy. We call him Rags, right? He helped me with my online profile. He helped me tons and tons in terms of helping me with social skills and helping me relate with people. He's a beautiful person, love him to death. So these guys genuinely helped me a lot. I start to have the friends of benefits, like I told you about, and lots of things happen. I mean, went from a virgin to sleeping with 10 women that year. I literally thought that was impossible. I literally couldn't. When I set that goal, I didn't believe it could be done, and I did it. When I set the goal of beating my approach anxiety, I didn't believe it could be done, and I did it, right, that year. All of these things that I thought were impossible, I kept doing. So at that point, after that year, bro, I kind of understood I don't want casual sex. I don't really want this. What I really want is a deep connection. To be quite honest with you, I don't like it that we fuck and then they leave. I don't like it.
Because same thing for me. After every casual encounter, I started to just hate people.
Yeah.
Then my opinion of women got worse and worse and worse. And then I thought maybe it's not me, it's them. And just like there was a war in my head saying, like, you know, who's going to play who first?
Yeah.
It gets bad.
So this was what was happening with me. And like, dude, I just started to like want it a lot less in terms of like delays and stuff. And then my business mentor Vin starts to like see more value in me. One day we're walking around in Battersea Park and he just yells at me like, stop what you're doing, start a business, right? So I start the accountability and performance coaching business, you know, that eventually becomes the breakthrough engine. But he's teaching me a lot in terms of how to build internet companies. I get my first clients. I start working with people. Just from all this crazy hustle I did in dating, people know I'm a fucking performance addict. I know how to improve. I know how to like get people consistent. I know how to get people to their goals, right? So I get my testimonials. I start making content. All the shit that I eventually had to learn to build CMU, I was learning back then 4 years ago. So, you know, I won, but I'm winning in my life. I'm winning my goals, but I'm a little bit dissatisfied, bro. Because of the negative experiences, because of the ghosting, because of the way women are treating me. I had this one girl called Louise who just treated me like trash. Like she'd come to dates, be like 3-4 hours late. And I basically...
But you accepted that.
because, bro, you know, I was
It's just
weak.
like desperateness.
Yeah,
Like,
desperate.
I get it. I was at that point
Yeah,
too.
because she was quite good looking, right? So I was like,
Yeah, I
fucking,
get it.
I was weak. You know what I mean? So there was different men who helped me out, and they kind of helped me understand, bro, your vibe's bad. You've got a lot of shit going on. But you know, I was very hungry at this point. So the whole London chapter ends when me and Timmy had a beautiful year and a half. I hug him, you know, I move on. I then focus on business for a while, right? And you know, start winning in business, start making a little bit of money, you know, start getting some growth. And then eventually when I get closer to Vin, he teaches me more that to really win in life, you have to deeply, deeply be all in at a level where you have to be on the cutting edge. Your head has to be in the game. At this point, like, dating is like still kind of happening, but like my heart's not there, right? My heart's more in impact and living. So what happens after London is I move in with my a guy from Andy's coaching group called Powell. We live in Budapest for a year. In Budapest, bro, like it's Europe. It's different. It's like I'm now no longer driven by pain and this warrior ethic that I used to have. Now I'm with my bro. I get laid and shit, but
You're more at peace.
more at peace. But then something's happening, bro. I'm not closing in Budapest. I'm getting dates, but nothing's happening. I have a 10-month dry spell.
Was it like racism there or something?
Dude, what it was just a different culture. It was a more conservative culture.
Probably like a less of a hookup culture like New York, right?
Yes.
Where you gotta go on multiple dates.
Yes.
'Cause you know how it is here. If they like you, just
Yeah. So that 10-month dry spell, it basically drives me so insane that I book a flight to go see you. Enough is enough, right? Think of everything I've shared with you so far. I've always had a core issue in here, but I never really confronted it.
I remember when I used to do Zoom calls with you.
Yeah.
That it was actually like, you know, you would tell me, oh, it's my looks, it's my race.
Yeah.
I always tell you, bro, you just don't. I'll tell you bluntly, you don't sound like a man, and this is
Exactly.
something you need to work on.
Yeah, that was it. But, you know, that was the moment that really changed my life. When I came there, New York, did a boot camp with you, the biggest thing I realized was, Ravi, you're not a man. You're not. You spiral. You go into dark places in your mind. You're not assertive. You don't hold boundaries. You don't express yourself fully. You don't express your emotions. I learned all that in that week with you. That I understood, okay, I actually got a long way to go.
What did you take away from the first time?
From the first boot camp that I took away, you got to remember, 10-month dry spell, went and hooked up with you. Bro, I slept with a great gal, right? After 10 months. And then I learned it's not necessarily my looks and race, even though I was made to feel that way in my life. And even though it was real what I experienced, at this point, I was the oppressor. At this point, I was the restrictor. I self-segregated myself to make other people feel comfortable, right? Because of other people's limited thinking, I put limits on myself. After that boot camp with you for a week, I understood, if I'm going to make it in life, I have to fucking take it. It ain't going to be given.
You gotta fight for it, man.
Yeah. It ain't going to be this fucking la bullshit anymore. Yeah, fucking going there, sitting there, doing the app dates and shit. No. I understood. Excellence and performance can be my destiny. But for me to get what I really want, which is a great partner and a great business and a great life, it's time to get competitive. It's time to put my fucking ass on the line and really learn some genuine social skills in masculine game. And take risks and push the limits and not be afraid of offending people and not be afraid of taking risks with women. No longer playing it safe. The biggest thing I learned was that there is equalizers in this world, even if you're brown, even if you're not the best looking, even if you may not have hypergamy on your side. In CMU, there's tools for the underdog in this world to make it too. And I realized when I was on that boot camp, you're a guy who don't fit the mold, D.
Yeah.
You don't fit the mold. You found ways to win. What I was inspired was, I'm going to go and I'm going to take it. And I'm going to put myself where I want to be. I'm going to sit at the winner's table I'm gonna make them fucking recognize I'm a gangster. I'm not an abused boy no more. I'm not a neglected boy anymore.
That was basically like my mindset too, because a lot of guys in the community, especially the white dudes who have like an endless amount of options, they're like, oh man, I'm making this amount of money, I have like 200-300K. How the fuck are you like doing better than me? How are you getting these quality women? And I would tell them like, bro, I'm a fucking man, and I don't let that stop me. You're relying on your looks, race, height, status, job, and meanwhile they're using you and abusing you. They'll just go on a date with me and have fun because I'm being just the guy who activates emotion versus you being the guy who's providing just extangible features instead of their internal value as a man. Which is why I was able to get like known in the community like this guy is an ethnic man. You know, a little bit ambiguous, but in New York City, you know, when you're in that type of box, you're not supposed to do too well. But I proved everybody wrong. You know, I'm destroying the 6'2" Chad or like a Tyrone because just the fact that I'm a man that can lead. The most basic shit that you're supposed to do as your birthright, given as a man, that guys just forgot how to do what they want to do.
So that's what I learned, dude. And you know, the epic turnaround I had after that week with you was, dude. After that, I had abundance, like legit rotation, harem, like dude, I was fucking like crazy, bro. Like literally after that, right? I had to get out of my system, whatever, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Every guy that goes psycho and goes on before
I went on a spree.
You gotta get out of your system.
I did it though, yeah.
Then you're gonna want to cheat or you're not happy. You realize what I said. All guys gotta like get that shit out your system.
So I basically every week, dude, I'm fucking every week, literally, and I'm retaining this time. Like actually, there's a bunch of them because I'm cool at this point. I'm like fucking. My game is better than what it was now because I had mad momentum for multiple years of approaching.
I'm Indian. Oh my god.
In fact, bro, I'm just a G.
Yeah, exactly.
A different mentality.
You are an Indian G.
Exactly. Confident.
Yeah, guys out there who's saying black pill this, black pill that. Man. It's right. He age on not 6'2". I don't have hair. If you are a man, as I said, motherfucker, somebody's gonna give you a chance.
Most definitely. So when I'm just slaying at that point, none of the narratives and stories fit anymore. I can't be too ugly because I got multiple chicks. There can't be something wrong with me. Guess what? All along, it was just social skills and beliefs,
right? And
nervous system dysregulation. And now guess what? I ain't got the pain no more. Now I'm winning. I end that chapter in Budapest victorious. So this is multiple years of success at this point, right? And after this point, dude, sky's the limit for me. Sky is the limit, right? I keep healing. I discovered that I had some childhood trauma. I start working on that. I fly out to Mexico because, I've been closing for a while and then I'm trying to find my little spiritual peace arc. So my businesses are growing. I'm able to live on the beach in Puerto Escondido for like 3 months in the beautiful sunshine, watching the sunset, watching the sunrise. At that point, right, I think...
yeah, I remember the videos you sent.
I send you videos all the time, right? I
was like, who is this guy? This is not the
exactly.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, bro.
Just happy and sure. I did not... I was lost.
But that's the amazing thing because you saw me not only succeed in my businesses and growing, right, and having clients and traveling. You saw that like this fucking crazy dude is achieving things.
Right.
And dude, after Budapest, when I went to Mexico, within 2 days I was getting laid. 2 days, dude. I wasn't even trying to anymore. And I meet like a really pretty lady.
When you're confident, it just comes natural to you because you're not trying to be some like player with tactics. You're just being a man and leading, going for what you want.
That's what's up.
And speaking your mind.
And that was when I basically said, look, I'm just going to heal this year. That was when I finally attracted like an actual relationship, right? It didn't go all the way, but she was a very pretty lady, right? Tall, confident. And, she used to be like a professional model, right? She was very good looking. And, there was other famous men trying to attract her and shit, and they couldn't do shit. I was just like myself, confident. She liked it. Like there's women who like tall, confident, even like, that guy was from Texas, right? She was white. She liked people. She grew up with a lot of like Hispanics and stuff, and she actually liked the fact I was brown. She was attracted to it, right? So she wanted a tall, confident, kind of muscular, handsome brown man, and it wasn't a problem. Made it happen, and we enjoyed a great time together. I kept healing. She taught me more about emotional healing because she.
I remember that you're talking about it now. Happy to hear that. She was an attractive woman.
Definitely.
You would send me some cute videos, and
yeah.
It was such a sign of relief and joy to actually see you like happy.
Yes. It was the whole turnaround of my life. So she was teaching me more about like deeper trauma healing, dude, because she actually did that work professionally, like healing work. And so all these things in my life just kept coming together. And I realized, bro, I'm not so bad after all. I just got wounded.
Right.
So
Severely
hence,
wounded.
yeah, severely wounded by the insane life that I lived. So because she was finally treating me well and I was improving, because how I saw myself had changed, so how people treated me changed. She saw value in me because I saw value in me. And my inner game was improving. I started changing, dude, and life became more and more abundant. So if you think back to when I was telling you I was living in London a few years before, I told my housemate, Timmy, bro, in 3 years, I'm going to be running my businesses on the beach, waking up, watching the sunrise in Mexico. Fucking did it.
Question: was that girl that you were dating? That was the one that we're not gonna say his name, with the famous.
Yeah, literally.
Super famous guy.
Simping after calling
I
her.
remember you would show me the conversations, like, yo, guys, viewers that are listening to this podcast right now. This girl had a super famous guy on IG, like literally famous.
Yes.
We're not trying to get the podcast canceled. Good amount of money, good looks, everything. Very famous, has TikTok, IG, like a shit.
Millions of
followers.
fans.
Yep. And picked this fucker right over
Me.
here because he was a man, while the other guy was just trying to win her over with his status of IG. She just made fun of him for that.
Literally.
Just went home with him.
Yeah.
Just goes to show you, as I say time and time again, lead like a fucking man. You could be broke and a man should respect you and love you versus being rich and a bitch. I should trademark that shit.
Yeah.
Being
I like
broke as a man instead of being rich and a bitch.
Dude, you know, the most beautiful part of like masculine game is when you finally find a girl who not only kind of finds you attractive, kind of wants your archetype, kind of is curious, but you also kill it socially. The level of hypergamy you can, bro, they just want you so bad.
Yeah, I remember.
Other men can't compete with you.
I told you alpha hypergamy.
That's it.
Energy,
That's it.
Internal energy. Where
That's it.
She just becomes so magnetically
Yeah.
attracted to you. She just like,
They want to be around you, dude.
Lost.
Literally.
Just like,
Other men can't compete. It don't matter how much money they got. It
if you
don't
walk
matter.
Into, like I said, if you've seen it with me, if you walk into the train station, Starbucks, the grocery store line,
Yeah.
and if you have that aura as a man, she's just gonna be like, let me get a little bit close to him so I can see what's up.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving forward.
So, dude, you know, that was really healing. It ultimately, you know, what she wanted and what I wanted was two different things. I wanted something a little bit more serious. She was still like in her exploration era when she wanted to travel the world more. But I was like, nah, bro, I got to build my businesses. I got to be stable. I got to stay in one location. I got to really make it, right? So that ends, but that's fine. It's amicable. We still talk and all that. So I start, you know, pretty much traveling around Mexico. I'm having a lot of sex. I'm sleeping with a lot of women after that, right? Meet some amazing women, have some incredible fucking sex. And look, dude, I just ain't got a problem no more. I ain't got a problem no more. And basically, dude, after Mexico, guess what happens? D, me and you got to work together, right? So I approach you after.
I didn't want to work with
I know you
first
didn't.
'cause you were
Well, but bro, you know, you didn't for the first couple of years because I wasn't fucking mentally ill, as I told you.
Mm-hmm.
But all I really wanted to ever do was find a girlfriend and be happy. And pretty much, dude, after all this, all the things I've learned, everything I went through, all the business ups and downs, all the journey, going around the world, changing myself as a fucking human being, emotionally healing myself, going from zero, nothing, dirt, nothing, to making something of myself, dude. I was at the point in my life where I was like, bro, I've got to get beyond this now. So I'll come hook up with you in New York and you pull me out of a spiral because I'm basically I still keep closing. Even when I saw you that time last year, 6 months ago, I still slept with a bunch of girls, right? Some really attractive.
You're starting to realize, like, you started to get more lost, more
Yes.
angry, and then the hate started to come out.
Exactly.
And women are out to get me, women, you know.
Yeah.
If you ain't Chad Tyrone, it's fucking over.
Yeah, and there was the final part of my healing was like the point where I had to finally say, look, what more is there to prove now? Like I banged like fucking hot model, whatever, like hot 8, whatever. Like I've done this now. So what am I trying to prove? The pain that's within is what I finally need to deal with.
Because it was the same thing with me. You know, I slept with a bunch of women, but
Yeah,
I was only just trying to prove myself that I'm not a fucking loser.
yeah, man. That's
And
it's
it becomes a fucking dick measuring contest among men, and it sounds so fucking pathetic.
yeah. So, bro, that happens. You know, basically at that point, everything's going well in life. We start CMU, we start growing it, we start building it. I remember, dude, when I went home from that New York trip, I saw a guy I went to school with, and he's followed me online for years. And I just randomly bumped into him, and he says, you know what? He says, Ravi, man, I'm proud of you. I followed you all these years on social media, and I can't believe what you did from yourself, from where you used to be. He used to work with me in that shit retail job, bro, back in the day.
That must have hit you in the heart.
Dude, because I knew anyone can make it.
Right.
Anyone can make it. You don't need shit apart from healing your head, healing your trauma, and taking massive action.
Fucking grit.
Yeah, grit, mentors, coaches, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you, bro. You know, people now like tell me I'm a living legend. Like people tell me who read my shit on the forums back in the day, right? People tell me they started their journey because of me. That happens, right? People, Andy.
That's a powerful thing too.
Yeah.
And you remember when I made my minority clients meet you, they said, you motivated me to do better. I didn't want to play the victim anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients said,
Yeah.
we love this guy.
Yeah.
When I added you into the community.
Yeah. Because
It
that's,
helped you a lot.
I appreciate it, D, but this really, realistically, my transformation was many people. It was you, it was Andy, it was the community, it was many people, it was Rags, it was plenty of my friends who came together and pushed me. Because success is a team sport. No man is an island, bro. You need a community. That's how you do this shit, which is why we have CMU. So at this point, I can say, dude, I'm making boss moves. All the guys who was like my mentors, and I pretty much like, you know, we're friends as we're business partners too. I got to a certain level. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, bro, all this shit is about being loud and proud, being out here on my mission. Yeah. I've done a lot of work that's healed myself. I've forgiven my dad for the pain he caused me. I've forgiven my dysfunctional family, right? I rebuilt my masculinity, right? I don't blame anyone for what happened to me. I don't blame society. I don't blame culture, okay?
Yeah, you reached a state of high mental consciousness and peace.
Yeah. I don't blame women. I don't blame how I got friend zoned. I don't blame all the shit that happened because it made me who I am today. It made me a better man. I don't blame the dark times in London when I tried to go on a date and I got a fucking knife pulled on me. I don't blame when I went on the forums and had to cry and admit I'm a virgin and it's been read by 1 million people, right? I don't blame that it took 6 months to get my first match online. I don't blame that it took 9 months to do my first proper set and cold approach. I don't blame when I had to lose my virginity at 30. I don't blame that I didn't get kissed or do a follow-up date after 50 dates in a row, right? I don't blame that a girl like said I was too tall and left the date. I don't blame that.
Tall.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't blame that I got stood up many times, that I got disrespected, that I had to travel town sometimes to get dates and they didn't show. I don't blame the crazy shit I had to do to get my mentors and to get the great people around me and the risks I took. I don't blame that all the shit I did to become who I am was to live my dreams. And now, women who speak to me and know me now will never know. They'll never know the darkness that I came from. The girls who now tell me that I'm one of the coolest people they met, the men who are inspired by me, the people who see me and the confidence I have will never know the hell that I came from. But I know in my core that this was always more than women. This was about me. This was about myself. This was about healing. And I'm living proof, no matter who the fuck you are and what's happened to you, if you want success and you're willing to do the work, it can be done.
It took a lot of action to say that. I just want to say that I appreciate you. And this is Ravi's core story. I hope it motivates and touches the souls of men and women out there to know that we both came from very dark paths. We were also, men who were fucked up, messed up. We thought that, having a bunch of sex would make us feel cool, make us feel heroic. And there was just external validation, which was a dick measuring contest. We were both like suicidal, depressed, did drugs, shitty fucking jobs, you name it, bullied, fought, bad parents. It's just like you gotta understand that we crawled out of everything. And this just goes to show you men out there that if you're willing to open the door and give us your hand to help you, type sovereign in the comments. Sorry, my fub accent came out. Can you say that for me?
Sovereign.
Yep. See, even though, I could talk like that, my accent be coming out sometimes, what I'm saying? Because I'm from overseas. But yeah, type down in the comments and let us help you to heal one step at a time. And just know that you're not alone in this journey. Peace, love, and blessings.
That's what's up.